Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. This is the work session for Legislative Day 12. Happy July 1st, and we're going to get started. Councilman Jones, I think you had a little announcement for us today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce two summer interns that will be working here with me. First one is Miss Olivia Webster. Please stand up, say hello. Thank you so much. She's from Stanford University, and our next intern is Miss Dana Thompson from Spelman. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, Councilman Jones.
Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Koch.
Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce somebody new in my office, Aaron Palmer, who is one of my legislative assistants. I'd like everyone to welcome him. He's supposed to give a speech.
Okay, so we have a few different appointments this afternoon, and we're going to start with those. First up is an appointment to the Baltimore County Community Repair and Reinvestment Commission. Miss Katie Rouse. Is Katie here today with us? Miss Rouse, do you want to come up and say a few words? Absolutely. Oh, good. You're going to come through and sit at the right at the table here, and there's a little button on that mic. You can press that so everyone online can hear you.
Marvelous. Am I on camera and on mic?
You are up. Thank you.
You so very kindly. My name is Katie Rouse. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. I'm requesting appointment to the council. I'm a lifelong Baltimore County resident. I live in Parkville in District 6. Nice. And I'm interested in serving because I've spent my career working in nonprofit management, mostly around behavioral health, so recovery from mental health and substance use challenges. And as we look at how to wisely use the resources we have for community repair and reinvestment, I'm very eager to make sure that behavioral health is front and center in our priorities.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Rouse? Very excited that you're from the 6th District.
Pleasure.
We really do appreciate you stepping up. This is, we believe this is going to be we know it's going to be a very important commission in the sense that this is not found money, but new money, and we're really hoping that some of the commission funds can be spent on some game changers for the county.
We have so much strength and opportunity in our communities, and I think we can leverage the resources that are already there and the wisdom and lived experience of the community. So I'm excited to serve. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. All right, well, we appreciate you stepping up, and we look forward to your appointment at the legislative session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today. Okay. And then we also have another Baltimore County Community Repair and Reinvestment Commission member, Mr. David Brown. Is Mr. Brown here today? Is Mr. Brown online or no? Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on. And then we also have a reappointment to the Baltimore County Revenue Authority. Mr. Delegate N. Scott Phillips. Is Mr. Phillips? Delegate Phillips, I should say. How are you, sir? Good evening.
There you go. All right. Good evening to the members of the council and to citizens of Baltimore County. I'm honored to be recommended for reappointment to the Baltimore County Revenue Authority. As you gentlemen know, the Revenue Authority is responsible for our municipal golf courses, our parking, and the sportsplex in Reisterstown. And I've had the opportunity to work with the board now for several years and look forward to continuing that work.
Okay. Anyone have questions for Mr. Phillips?
No questions, Mr. Cranbrook?
Mr. Chair, not a question, but a comment, and
Councilman Patoka?
thank you. I would just say that I think Mr. Phillips, among many of his other outstanding credentials, the one that really stands out to me is his high school credentials, because he went to, I think, maybe what I would say is the finest high school in Baltimore County.
And I would agree with you, Mr. Councilman.
Yeah. So we're both Woodlawn High graduates. Go Warriors. Just saying. Thank you, Scott.
He knows
Thank you
all
very
the
much.
Schools are in my district.
Councilman Jones?
I thought you were going to say it's the best high school in the universe. That said, Delegate Phillips, thank you so much for your willingness to serve. You, not only do you do an outstanding job representing Baltimore County and Annapolis, but you have a long and distinguished career serving the citizens of Baltimore County right here in Baltimore County, whether or not it was on the planning board as its chair and member in the past to now on the Revenue Authority, and a constant person who's always working hard in the interest of the citizens of Baltimore County. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to my councilman, the 4th Councilmatic District. Thank you very much. And once again, it's really my honor. You know, the service that you render is the rent that you pay for the space that you occupy. And so hopefully we'll continue to render that service to our citizens. I will say this, since we're talking about the Revenue Authority, it really provides amenities to our community. And I do hope that the council will continue to be supportive of the work of the Revenue Authority as we provide those amenities to our citizens in Baltimore County.
Thank you again, and also for your work on minority and small businesses. That doesn't go unnoticed, so thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Couch, did you have a comment? Your mic's on. Okay.
And Councilman Catch, you know, I haven't spoken to you much since our days working on a procurement reform, but always good to see you.
You know, Councilman Ketch used to represent the west side of the county.
Yeah.
He likes to tell us that a lot.
Because it's true.
All right, well, thank you, Delegate Phillips, and we look forward to your reappointment next week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Okay, next up, we have an appointment to the Police Accountability Board. Ms. Tiffany Justice. Is Ms. Justice here? Ms. Justice, how are you? Good. Come on up.
All right.
How are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Did you want to tell us a little bit about you and
Sure.
why you want to serve, whatever you want to tell us?
Absolutely. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tiffany Justice. Currently serve in my professional career as the Director of Campus Safety at Goucher College. I also served on the inaugural year of the ACC, the Account Charging Committee, which is also a branch of the PAB. I resigned that position just because my workload was a little heavy at work. But still have really genuine interest and think that the work is super important. And so when the vacancy became available, I applied, and I'm honored to receive the nomination for appointment.
Great, thank you. What part of the county do you hail from?
I am originally from Denver, Colorado, but I have been a Baltimore County resident for about 8 years. I live in White Marsh.
Oh, nice, okay. We appreciate you serving. Any questions for Ms. You have an appropriate name for the PAB as well.
I just would say that because you hail from Denver, I'm not going to ask you what high school you went to. It's all thing to do here
No
in
problem.
Baltimore.
All right, well, thank you, Ms. Justice. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your willingness to serve. Councilman Jones, did you?
No, I just wanted to thank you also for stepping up and willingness to serve. This is an extremely important commission or board, and the citizens are counting on you. We have an excellent police department, but in every case, people have a right to be receive some type of fair due process, and we appreciate the work you're doing. It's extremely important. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Honored to do it. I have a positive working relationship with Baltimore County just through the work that I do. But I think also I'm in a pretty unique position to kind of have the attention of future Baltimore County residents in our population on campus. And so I'm excited to do the work.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Justice. Okay, and we have a few Police Accountability Board. The next is a reappointment for Councilman Catch to the Police Accountability Board, Mr. Ralph Dennis. Is Mr. Dennis here? Mr. Dennis, how are you? Excellent. How about yourself? Good.
Councilman, good to be here. Thank you for this invitation to share today. This is my second year around for the chair of the PAB. I served for a year just as a member of the PAB when Attorney Linda Shields was chair. PAB is a work in progress, and as much as it was an innovative legislative act, it is still evolving. But I think we're making progress. We get a lot of input from the public, and we do our best not only to serve the public, but to remember that we're a part of the public as well. Our relationship with the police department has been good, and I think we're going to see some changes soon. In as much as the Police Accountability Board perhaps have some redefining to do. But that's going to be interesting, but I think it's also going to be needed. Maybe a little bit about myself. I'm not a lifetime Baltimorean. I live in District 3 right now in Sparks-Glencoe. I've been a pastor in Baltimore County for about 35 years. Right in Annesley. We're right across from Channel 2, as we've been there for about 35 years. My son pastors there now. I'm retired. So, but it's been a good journey, and I look forward for the Police Accountability Board to continue to improve in its effectiveness and the work that we have to do, which I think will never end. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for being here, Councilman.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you, Reverend, for your willingness to serve on this commission. I know how your involvement in the community, although it's in your district, not mine, Annesley. That's where you are.
That's correct, but
Yeah, okay. And
Sparks.
yeah, I know he lives, yeah, and I hope he stays in Sparks. But we exchanged a number of ideas when we spoke. And
Yes, sir.
I'm very impressed with you, and I think you are bringing a lot to the commission. And I just want to let the rest of the members of the county council know that when I appoint somebody to a commission, their odds of being selected as the chairman are rather high. We have a chairman here. And the redistricting commission, my appointment became chairman. So I have the best.
Must be the 3rd district.
I think you're right. I think exactly.
Councilman Catch, I think you're called a kingmaker.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take
You're
it.
going to end up in an article that you don't want to be in.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Any other questions for Mr. Dennis? Thank you so much for serving, and thank you for being the chair. And it is a very important committee, and you guys are doing great work. And by the way, I was in there's a group in the county called Surge. and they did I don't know what we'd call it, but basically had a meeting to talk about PAB and ACC. And a member from the ACLU came, and one of the things he said at that point was that he felt like Baltimore County is actually really doing what they're supposed to be doing, whereas they're having trouble with some of the other counties following statute or, really complying with what, the way the law was supposed to be meant to do. And he said that he was, I forget the words he used, but basically, Baltimore County is a model for how it should be done, which was good to hear.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I believe that a lot of that can be credited to the kind of leadership we got when the board was first formed. Henry Caligari from the public safety was sort of leading the way there. He's a brainiac and did an excellent job helping us to connect the dots. I can't forget to mention him because he did a great job. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
All right, have a great day. Be careful going home in this crazy weather. Okay, and then next up, we have a reappointment for Councilman Jones to the Police Accountability Board, Ms. Stephanie Betterson. Is Ms. Betterson here? Yeah. Everybody's here today. Everybody's here. This is unbelievable. When the PAB comes, everybody, they just show up. Don't mess around. Hello, Ms. Betterson. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How about yourself?
Good.
I am Stephanie Betterson. I reside in Randallstown, District 4. I don't say I'm a lifelong Baltimorean. I've lived all over the world as my father was in the service, and so I'm an Army brat, but lived here in Maryland the longest for the last 20 years. My husband, children, both Randallstown high school graduates, and so we're excited to be here. Just a little bit about the Police Accountability Board. I've sat on the board now for a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months maybe, but it has been very fulfilling as far as the information that I've learned and the knowledge that I've gained going forward. And it has given me a different perspective on what police have to do, what challenges they face, as well as some of the challenges that we in society face as well. So it's been very interesting, and I'm happy to be considered for reappointment.
Thank you. Councilman Jones?
Yes. Ms. Betterson, we realize that you've been all over the world. We just happy you're here in Randallstown, Baltimore County. So
Glad to be here.
we appreciate your service to the board and appreciate everything else you do for our community. And you guys continue to make us proud. You're a very nice person, and I know that everything I hear, you take the job extremely serious, and that's all we can ask. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Betterson. Any other questions for Ms. Betterson? All right, well, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it. We look forward to your reappointment. And then last but not least, we have an appointment from Councilman Ketch to the Baltimore County Community Repair and Reinvestment Commission, Dr. Takoya Farrakhan. Is Dr. Farrakhan here? There you are. How are you today? Hopefully I didn't butcher your first name. Is that Takoya? Okay. Thank you. Do you want to come? No. Dr. Farrakhan, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Takoya Farrakhan. I'm a pharmacist of over 23 years, born and raised here in Maryland. I'm a product of Baltimore County. I probably touched every part of Baltimore County. I was born and actually raised in the Milford Mill area, and now I live in District 3. Wade in the Parkton area. So my children have attended all the schools in the Hereford district, and we've been here, I guess this year in October will be 20 years in Parkton. So yeah, just enjoying life up in the North County.
Good for you, Councilman Ketch.
Now, Mr. Chairman, it's indeed my honor to nominate Dr. Farrakhan to this commission. We had a very spirited conversation in the office.
Yes, we did.
And you all would be very impressed with all that she has done for Baltimore County, groups that she's founded, et cetera. She is the kind of person that we need on a commission, on this commission, because she is creative. And once you all identify the problems, I know you're going to come up with solutions. And I appreciate you willing to take on this responsibility.
Absolutely, and I think to make the council feel a little bit more comfortable, you know, as a pharmacist, you know, that's a very multifaceted role. I was trained, you know, in the very traditional, you know, sense. I went to the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy in Baltimore, graduated in 2002, and you know, I stayed in the industry, the traditional industry, for quite a while, and then started to get very interested in alternative types of healing. And so the last, I would say, 6 or 7 years, my husband and I have really been focused on educating folks around new plant medicines that are, you know, coming up and around, and obviously psilocybin and cannabis are topics of conversation. And as a clinician here in Maryland, when all of that legislation, you know, was being created, my husband and I thought it was very important to be educated around everything that our patients would have access to, so that if they needed a resource, a trusted resource, as pharmacists usually are identified as, that they had two people that they could come to with that knowledge. And I'm proud to say that we were two of the first clinicians to be awarded the Masters of Cannabis Science and Therapeutics from the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy's graduate program in 2021. So, you know, I don't just talk it, you know, we absolutely teach, and that's really, you know, our life's purpose. So just wanted to add that little bit as well.
You know both sides to this.
Both sides of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There is some of all of that.
Three sides.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I've come to the conclusion some time ago that there is a place for alternative medicine. And I just wish the medical profession would join alternative medicine profession to work together, because there are many advantages to alternative medicine. And I was one of them in the legislature that pushed medicinal marijuana. And I think that's proven to be a big plus.
Absolutely.
But so, again, I thank you very much, and we're going to wait to see, expect to hear good things soon.
I expect to be able to say those good things soon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Ketch. Thank you, Dr. Farrakhan. We appreciate it, and we look forward to your appointment next week.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you for being here in person. It's always good to have everybody here. Okay, next up, we're going to move on to fiscal matters. We have a few. First up is Department of Rec and Parks, Miss Courtney Weinstock, about a lease on the Pikesville Armory. It looks like we have Director Smith. Instead, the big man is here.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. The Department of Recreation Parks proposes a lease of approximately 1,723 square feet of space, consisting of 973 square feet of exclusive space and approximately 750 square feet of core space within the NCO club structure at the former Pikesville Armory. The space will be leased from the Pikesville Armory Foundation, Inc. for the purpose of housing the department's Pikesville Community Recreation Office. The initial lease term is for 10 years with 2 5-year extension options. Annual rent shall be $25,800 for the first lease year, with an escalation of 3% each year thereafter. The rent amount is inclusive of the tenant's share of the landlord's operational, management, and maintenance expenses. All utilities, with the exception of telecommunications, will be the responsibility of the leaseor and landlord. So we're seeking approval for this lease for this period of time, sir.
Okay, great. Does anyone have questions for Director Smith? Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director Smith.
Yes, sir.
The Pikesville Armory is and will be transformative to the success of the Pikesville Commercial Corridor. The NCO Club has opened, and it's really interesting. This project, when I was first running in 2017, maybe 2018, there were a lot of meetings that were generated and that were initiated by a variety of interest groups in Pikesville, 1,000 Friends of Pikesville, other organizations, and the vision was all over the place. And through a series of meetings and years, that vision got honed. And to the point where about a month ago, the NCO Club opened its doors. It's the first building of 4 that will become this spectacular place in Baltimore County and in Pikesville. And the NCO Club is really spectacular. The first floor has been transformed into meeting space, as well as the traditional non-commissioned officers club. The upstairs is a meeting space. I've already been to meetings that have been held there. I think the Rec and Parks will have a presence there. So this is the very beginning of something that will make all of us here in Baltimore County proud that we were part of this transformative repurposing of what was a former military department asset, that the military department said, this is something we don't need anymore. It was put out on the clearinghouse for surplus properties, transferred to Baltimore County, and then transformed into what has now become the Pikesville Armory Foundation. That foundation didn't always exist. It was the culmination of dozens and dozens of meetings. It was the culmination of various interest groups. Some people didn't believe in it in the beginning, but as that vision became honed and fine-tuned and transformative, people began to believe. And they believed so much that they were actually willing to act on that belief, that this place could be spectacular. And so it has become, the first phase of it, Director Smith, is spectacular. And I see it even growing into something that is just going to be something that we all look at and say, wow, that is something right here in Baltimore County. So I'd urge my colleagues to join in the success here by giving this an affirmative vote.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Patoka. Any other questions for Director Smith? Thank you, sir. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you all.
Okay, we'll move on to, we have Renee Coleman from Office of Human Resources about a contract for training and consulting services, Computer Training Center. Hello, Ms. Coleman, how are you?
Does not look like Ms. Coleman.
Oh, you're not Ms. Coleman. I'm sorry. I didn't have my glasses on, and I. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Sorry,
Oh, that's quite okay. Good evening, all. The administration is requesting approval of 3 contracts with California Creative Solutions, Incorporated, Learning Academy, Homeland Security and Management Solutions, AKA Dantley Corp., and Logical Ventures, AKA System Source, to provide computer training courses for county employee on an as-needed basis. Each contract commences upon council approval, continues for 1 year, and will renew automatically for 4 additional one-year periods with the option to extend the initial term or any renewal term an additional 120 days. The contract provides that compensation for all contractors combined may not exceed the amount appropriated for these services for the entire contract term, and the office advised that estimated compensation for all contractors combined totals $250,000 for the entire 5-year and 4-month term, including the renewal and extension periods.
Okay, great. Any questions?
All righty. Have a
Well,
good
that's
evening.
easy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Next up, we have Department of Public Works and Transportation, DPWT, Director Buckler. It's not Director. Oh, there it is, Director Buckler. I need to keep my glasses on.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have before you the on-call wastewater flow monitoring, infiltration and inflow analysis and sanitary sewer evaluation survey investigations. So these are 3 contracts that we are requesting approval for, one with ADS LLC, one with Johnson, Mearman and Thompson, and one with RJN Group to provide this on-call flow monitoring and all the other words I just said. This is for our wastewater system in compliance with the consent decree. These contracts will commence upon council approval for 1 year and will renew automatically for 4 additional 1-year periods with the option to extend the initial term or any renewal term an additional 120 days. The contracts provide that compensation for all contracts combined may not exceed the amount appropriated for these services for the entire contract. We've estimated the compensation for all contractors combined for the entire 5-year, 4-month term, including renewals, to be approximately $1 million. There were a couple questions that were asked related to this today. So we have that paper. There was a question about how we utilize the contractors. You know, it depends on availability. They have different rates, so that was one of the questions of the auditors. So it depends on their availability and what the task is under that contract, who we would utilize as we move through these projects. Happy to take any questions that you have.
Councilman Marks?
I don't have a question about this specific contract, and I don't see the fire department on the agenda, but I want to thank your department and the police department and the fire department for the assistance they provided with these storms that are occurring. In the Kingsville area, there were 2 tornado warnings last night. There was substantial rainfall on Sunday, and I think the east side is getting hit as we speak. So I just want to thank your agency and the other first responders for their support.
Thank you, sir. We have multiple shops on call right now because of the storms. We only had, I think, 4 trees down from last night's storm, which was really low considering the size of that storm. So hopefully we don't have many down right now.
Okay. And Councilman Crandall?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just to follow along Councilman Marks's comments, since we're on this theme, we had a pretty major fire this afternoon in Dundalk at St. Rita's Church. Thankfully, no injuries, no loss of life. The church was not occupied at the time. I just got off the phone with Chief Dixon, and he told me that a firefighter was treated because he, quote, overextended his abilities, but he's okay, and that's all we care about. Property damage we could deal with. Loss of life is something that is a lot more difficult. So along the lines of what Councilman Marks said, thank you to all our first responders for all the work that they do, and thankfully that Dundalk, we'll get through this one. We've been through stuff before. We'll get through this one too, but only with the help of the people whose job it is every day to put their lives on the line for us. and we really appreciate it. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Any others for Ms. Buckler? Thank you, Ms. Buckler.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon. Next up, we have Ms. Deb Schindel, Chief of Property Management, on two different items, purchase order from Johnson Controls and contracts for carpet cleaning and floor stripping. Very exciting.
That's what I was going to say. Isn't my job exciting? If Lauren Buckler gets the better topics, I think sometimes. Good evening, Council Chair and members of the County Council. The administration is requesting an approval of a purchase order with Johnson Control, Inc. in the amount of $484,891.55 to upgrade the building automation systems at various county locations. Upgrades to these 16 systems currently maintain local, were identified in the building assessments recommended in our year one to complete. The software systems are tied to our HVAC systems and provide remote monitoring and adjustments. And for those who do not know, this basically helps us not have to send staff right away. What we do is we come in every morning, and any piece of HVAC equipment that is attached to our software, we can bring it up on the computer and make sure it's running. And then if something's wrong, we sometimes can adjust it right there without sending staff to repair it, to make controls on dampers. And then if we can't, then we can send staff. But it's our way remotely now to be able to control a lot of our HVAC systems without sending folks. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions on this matter? Doesn't look like it.
No, sir, it's boring enough.
Move on to carpet cleaning and floor stripping.
No problem. The administration is requesting the approval of two contracts for P2 Cleaning Services, LLC, and Brooks Services, Inc., to provide carpet cleaning and floor stripping, sealing, and finishing services to various locations throughout Baltimore County. The contractor shall provide the all labor, equipment, tools, floor cleaning, supplies, and materials, and all qualified supervision necessary to provide professional hardwood floor cleaning, stripping, sealing, and finishing. This agreement shall take an effect when executed by the county and shall continue 1 year with 4 one-year renewals. The estimated total compensation for this contract is $1,740,023.33. This was a competitively bid contract. It was chosen for best qualified, best value, experience, low bid, and obviously competitive bid. There is an MBE WBE requirement of 25%, and both of our contractors are primes, MBE primes. And I can take any questions on this contract if you will have any.
Any questions from the members? All right, thank you, Ms. Schindel. We appreciate it. Next up, we have Mr. Lawrence Richardson, Deputy Director, Department of Health and Human Resources, on two different contracts. How are you, Mr. Richardson?
I'm well.
Oh, good.
Good evening, Chairman Ertel, members of the council. The administration is seeking your approval of a contract with Dr. Mawish Karam to provide services related to our prevention, early detection, and diagnosis of cancer for our low-income residents. The initial 11-month term will amount to $6,600, and the contract will have 1 3-year renewal with an estimated compensation not to exceed $28,200. The Department of Health program contracts with local providers to provide clinical and hospital services in accordance with the CDC and state of Maryland mandate. The contract with Dr. Karam was established to allow consumers the option to choose from a list of local providers throughout Baltimore County, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions from the members on this contract? None? Okay.
Great.
Next up.
The next contract is a contract with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health for our general preventive medicine residency program. Hopkins is a sponsoring institution, and Baltimore County Department of Health is a participating site. Under this agreement, we will be paying $4,700 per month for a resident, for up to 2 residents per year, to be in a rotation around preventive medicine. The residents will complete a full-time rotation within the Department of Health, during which they can contribute to various public health activities, and investigate and address public health hazards, assist in composing grant applications, and address emerging public health needs. The total compensation will not exceed $84,600 for the complete 3 years of this contract. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Richardson. We appreciate you being here. Okay. Next up, we have Major Mike Cortez from the Baltimore County Police, an amendment to a contract for Acme Auto Leasing for the Regional Auto Theft Task Force, RATT. R-A-T-T. How are you, sir?
Doing well, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. The administration is requesting approval of an amendment to a contract with Acme Auto Leasing, LLC, to continue to rent and repair vehicles leased by the police department. The proposed amendment, which commences upon council approval, enables the department to continue utilizing the contract for its originally stated purpose, the Regional Auto Theft Task Force, as well as for its expanded purpose, the Criminal Apprehension Support Team, which began utilizing the contract in FY 2025. The proposed amendment removes the existing compensation cap of $1.290 million and limits compensation to the amount appropriated for these services for the entire contract term. The department advised that estimated compensation totals $1,835,677 for the entire 5-year and 4-month term, including the renewal and extension periods, an increase of $545,677. The contract commenced February 1st of 2023. Services for the RATT unit are funded by grant number 1389, the Cracking Down on Auto Theft Reduction through Analysis Grant. Current 18 cars and repairs and the services for the cast are funded in the department's operating budget, currently 12 cars and repairs. In no event shall the compensation paid to the contractor exceed the sum of the county council approved appropriation during the entire term of this agreement, including renewals thereof. All the terms and conditions of the original agreement remain in effect, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions about this matter? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Colonel/Chief Dennis Delp. You have some exciting news about cleaning services for biohazards.
Good evening, everyone. The administration is requesting approval of 2 contracts with ISLAS General Cleaning Services Incorporated and BYLT LLC to provide biohazard and trauma cleanup services at locations within or near the boundaries of Baltimore County on an as-needed basis. Each contract commences upon council approval, continues for 1 year, and will renew automatically for 4 additional 1-year periods, with the option to extend the initial term or any renewal term an additional 120 days. The contracts provide that compensation for both contractors combined may not exceed the amount appropriated for these services for the entire contract term. The estimated compensation for both contractors combined totals $45,000 for the entire 5-year, 4-month term, including the renewal and extension periods. The work to be done under this contract includes, but is not limited to, the providing of all labor, materials, supervision, equipment, maintenance of traffic, incidentals, and all related items necessary to clean and dispose of contaminated material from biohazard trauma areas on an as-needed basis in any county facility. These contractors are certified in the applicable bloodborne biohazard requirements as listed in the bid. The county awarded the contracts through a competitive procurement process based on low bid from 6 bids received. Examples of uses will be for vomit, feces, urine, blood, any infectious disease, bloodborne pathogens, HIV, and hepatitis, et cetera.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Jones, did you want to address this?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is just this is the cleaner.
Yes.
Thank you, Colonel Delp. We appreciate you being here. It looks like no more. Oh, did you?
No, I will say this. I think this service is extremely important. In my years as a fire chief, I mean, there were periods of time early on when we would leave these type of cleanups to the occupants or the property owners. And I always thought we could do better. So I'm glad we are doing better now, because it's tough when these things happen to our citizens and their loved ones. And then it's even tougher when we leave it on them to have to clean up. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. And next up, the infamous Major Wydick. He has, this is a neat one though, Major Wydick. Paradise Animal Hospital Professional Veterinary Services for our canine unit. We have to take care of the dogs. Is there a separate veterinary service for Avenger? He'll be in on this too? Oh, your mic.
Yes, so we have 30 dogs, including Avenger. The police department's requesting approval to contract with Paradise Animal Hospital to provide professional veterinary services to dogs assigned to the police canine unit. The contract commences upon council approval, continues for 1 year, and will renew automatically for 4 additional 1-year periods, with an option to extend the initial term to any renewal term in addition to 120 days. We were not able to come up with an actual amount, but what we did was we went back 5 years and we're averaging about $43,000 a year in bills. That covers the initial exam when we get new dogs, when the dogs are injured. That's our average per year.
Okay. Any questions for Major Wydick? Councilman Crandall, I knew you had a...
I have a question for Major Wydick. Is Avenger the most popular cop in Baltimore County right now?
Yes, he was just at the youth graduation on Saturday, and the kids loved him, yes.
He's getting around.
He is.
For those of you who don't know who Avenger is in the audience, we was it about 3 weeks ago, the county took possession of our first police support dog, and he came from, his name's Avenger because he was on the, he was originally trained.
He was a military service dog.
He was a
for much with the
military
mission.
service dog, and he was on the George Bush aircraft carrier. And George Bush in World War II, this is the Bush Senior, or not W, the first president, first 41. And he flew an Avenger in World War II. So they named him Avenger because a lot of us had that question, but a really great support dog to help with officers and first responders who have not only dealt with trauma, but, you know, stress-related things. And
yes, sir, it's going very well.
We're very excited to have Avenger on board in Baltimore County.
He's been doing other units in the county as well.
Yes. Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. Is Paradise Animal Hospital, this is located on Route Frederick Road in Casey?
Yes, sir.
All right, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure and know the folks personally. I've known them to do nothing but positive and amazing care for everybody's pets, and I think that they'll be thrilled to win the contract and also provide the service to the county.
This was a competitive bid, but they are usually the only one that will put in the dog, because we have the aggressive dogs on the road too, and most vets do not want to partake with those.
They're a very capable location, not surprised. And I'm sure they'll be, well, knowing that, looking forward to, you partnering with them. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Young. Councilman Marks.
I just wanted to thank the police department for following up to the auditor's questions.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you, Major Waddick. Next up, we have Mr. Joe Jackson, Assistant County Attorney in Real Estate Compliance, for a contract of sale for Harry Gephardt at 1313 Moores Lane for a drainage and utility easement.
Thank you, Mr.
Hello,
Chairman.
Mr. Jackson.
You summed that up well. Can I just answer any questions you may have? The administration is requesting approval of a contract of sale to purchase a drainage and utility easement area of approximately 10,757 square feet and a temporary construction area of 9,985 square feet. The value is $43,050. The property location is 1313 Moores Lane, which is in Middle River. The overall purpose of the project is to make the county's sewer and infrastructure more resilient and sustainable. And may I answer any questions you may have? Thank you.
Right. With your leave, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. For the record, my name is Terry Hickey. I'm the director of the county's Department of Housing and Community Development. This is an unusual proceeding, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to give a little historic background.
Sure.
I'm here today seeking council approval for the administration's request to increase a previously approved funding commitment to a proposed housing development known as Red Maple Place. If approved, the original commitment of 2.1, which was deemed approved by the council in August of 19, would increase by $2 million for a total of $4.1 million. Just for context, Red Maple Place was originally proposed in 2018 by Homes for America. It will have 56 total residential units, 50 of which would count towards the county's VCA compliance numbers. 15 of those units would be 3-bedroom. 10 would be reserved for households at or below 30% of AMI, area median income, and 3 would be wheelchair accessible. That's sort of the trifecta of the difficult compliance measures in the county: accessible units, lower AMI units, and 3 bedrooms. All 50 units would retain their income restriction for 40 years. As an investor in the property, the county would have significant influence as to how the property is leased, managed, and maintained. Initially, and it was a little before my time, it appeared the project had gotten off to a good start. The council had approved an initial investment through the 7-day letter process. The state had awarded competitive award of tax credits, roughly $13.5 million in value today. I believe there's a letter from Secretary Day that went out sort of commiserating the state commitment. Homes for America had met with community members, and there had been several significant concessions made during these negotiations. One was to provide the nearby Elks Lodge with access to a gravel driveway in the southern parcel. And one of the things you'll see is that it's a unique property. It's 2 parcels back to back. You're going to see the northern parcel in front in blue, and you're going to see the southern parcel back there in yellow. And what I'm going to keep going back to is the building is slated only for the northern parcel. Repeat this a few times in my comments, but that southern parcel would be permanently preserved as forest land. And you'll see the size in comparison. There was also an agreement to change the color of the building to address community preferences, and an agreement to flip the building orientation completely so that the residents of neighboring Harris Hills would not be facing the back of the building once constructed. That last concession alone added $300,000 to the design and engineering costs for the property. The developer also committed to preserve the southern portion as a permanent forest buffer and agreed to a stormwater management plan that would address concerns from neighboring residents. A plan that will actually reduce the amount of stormwater leaving the property during a 24-hour storm event, very apropos to what we're going through lately, correcting existing stormwater management infrastructure issues at the site. Deputy Director Locker's here in case there's specific questions about this, but I think it's important to continue to mention the plan as designed would dramatically improve stormwater management at the site, not impact it negatively. Despite the initial progress, I think most of us here know the project did not move forward as planned. It's now been delayed for over 6 years. I think I've been here for about 5 of them. Legal issues needed to be resolved. Unfortunately, as you also know, this delay coincided with a historic spike in construction and financing costs. All told, the delay added over $8 million of cost to this single project. I'll give Homes for America credit. Most developers are experiencing cost overruns. They went out and found approximately $6 million in additional investment to keep the project going, came to the county with an ask for $2 million, which after careful thought, very careful thought and deliberation, we're recommending to you today. If approved, that $4.1 million ask would be in line with previous VCA investments. I don't say this to be dramatic. Factually speaking, Red Maple Place may be one of the most scrutinized developments in county history. On top of the existing development review process, which you all know very well, earlier legislation added a requirement that subjected Red Maple to the county's design review panel, which approved the project. The ALJ wrote a detailed decision. I know people don't like reading opinions as much as I do. I went to law school, I taught law school, but it's one of the better opinions that's been written on a project, on a development project that I recommend and we can distribute amongst the council and your staff. That approved the development plan. That ALJ opinion was eventually upheld by every level of the Maryland judiciary. It was upheld by the Circuit Court, the Appellate Court, and the Supreme Court of Maryland refused to hear the appeal. Red Maple's development plan, as I'm sure you're aware, is now approved and fully vested. Despite the scrutiny, I understand. It's my job to understand that there's still concerns with this project, something we've been reviewing for some time. And I'm sure you're going to hear about many of these tonight. Some are concerned that the project will eliminate, and I quote from the ALJ's opinion, the only remaining green space in the neighborhood. However, the ALJ found the opposite to be true. With the agreement to completely limit development in the northern parcel, all development potential on the southern parcel would be eliminated, creating the permanent forest buffer. So never any building ever on that southern parcel. It would be permanently maintained as forested green space. There was also concern over certain variances granted during the development process. I won't get into the weeds on it, but the ALJ found they had been granted properly. They involved the removal of 2 specimen trees that were in poor condition and an allowance for the project to encroach into the county's forest buffer, and this is important, in exchange for a requirement that twice the square footage of trees be planted at the bottom of the site to increase the vegetated buffer where the resources are most sensitive. Deputy Director Locker says that much better than I do, but the bottom line is both DEPS and you'll see later MDE have both agreed that this project could and should continue based on their analysis. I'm also aware, and I know you will hear more about this, and it's worth taking note, of concerns related to the Herring Run watershed. There have been multiple requests for the Maryland Department of the Environment to assess the site. Even though it is an unusual step for a project that is already approved and vested, MDE still agreed to visit the site in October of '24 and followed up with a report which confirmed the county's resource identification and failed to find any impacts to resources the county had not already protected. and that report is available for review if you'd like. So again, highly scrutinized. Should the council decide to vote down the administration's request, I can't speak for the developer, but it will be obvious that it'll be much more difficult for them to proceed with an affordable development on the site. That would, and I'm going to break from comments for a minute. I know we talk a lot about progress under the VCA, but you need to understand how difficult all development is these days. All of the projects we're working on with you have some degree of risk, particularly the ones that are new development. This is a shovel-ready, fully funded, ready-to-go project in an area that has the zoning and the need. Taking these off the board will significantly impact, if not right now, eventually, the county's ability to finish the VCA in time, and it will also be a setback for our efforts to find housing for residents who need it in the county. But I want to be clear, it will not eliminate development potential for the site. Should the project fail to move forward with Homes for America, and that's their decision, based on financial responsibilities and concerns, the current property owner would have the right to construct an identical building in the configuration that you see on that map. In that scenario, just to be clear, and we've looked at every way this could possibly go, that would not be a preserved, affordable building and would not count towards the county's attempts to satisfy the VCA. So it is a very real scenario that in several years you would end up with the exact same building in the exact same space, but it wouldn't count, it wouldn't help us, and it may be inaccessible to people in the county that need it. I just want to end by reinforcing, and I mean this personally, I've worked with all of you directly on housing deals. You know how much I care about this. I just want to reinforce why the administration, 2 county executives, why professionally I've stuck with this project and I'm here today. First, in all fairness, Red Maple Place has cleared every legal and procedural hurdle that has been thrown at it over 6 years, every single one. It is a critical part of our efforts to solve the VCA. But it's also about providing opportunities for county residents in areas where we haven't always done as much development. There are, as you know, county residents that can't afford to live in the county where they are born or go to school without spending half to 3/4 of their income on rent. We have too many people remaining in old and substandard housing, people doubled and tripled up, people losing stable housing. This impacts our employment base, our tax revenue, and ultimately our quality of life. This is one project alone. It's not going to solve the housing crisis, but it's about the cumulative decisions we make and how we do this together that'll move us forward. And it's for those reasons, respectfully, I very much appreciate you hearing me out, and I very much appreciate your consideration and support for the administration's request. Happy to take questions. Deputy Director Locker's also here, and Director Gutwald's here if it gets outside my area of expertise.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman Crandall.
Mr. Hickey, I have been on this council for 11 years, and I've never been threatened like you just threatened this council. To say that we need to do something or else. Wrong path, my friend. Wrong path.
It's not how it was intended, Councilman. I think.
Yeah, that's how I heard it.
I apologize for that if that's how it was conveyed.
Apologize. I heard it.
Okay.
We all heard it.
I think it is my professional responsibility to be clear what, after lengthy analysis, we believe could happen on this site so you can make an informed decision.
You sat there and intimated that all of these things were procedurally done.
Yes, sir.
Everything is lawyerly done. But yet this council didn't vote on these things that you're saying that we voted on. We didn't vote on these things. We didn't approve these things. And then you're going to sit there and threaten us to say, well, they can just build whatever they want. The owners can build whatever they want if you guys don't approve this loan. That's a threat. That is a threat to the Baltimore County Council, and I'm speaking for myself, not for my colleagues. I don't even know if they agree with me or not. But that's not a good track to take, man.
Okay.
It's just not.
I don't think you have your history correct. I don't think you have the spirit of this council correct. And I think you just insulted us.
Councilman Marks?
Thank you. Mr. Hickey, thank you for providing that. I do want to correct you, though. The Board of Appeals did oppose this project.
Yes, sir.
There's a 16-page opinion dated August 11th, 2021. Deborah Dobkin wrote it. Very esteemed member of the Board of Appeals, and that's the body we appoint representatives to. That's the appellate body for zoning issues. So they did oppose it. Now, I understand there's a different path once it got beyond that, but it did not pass every level of appeal.
Yes, sir. To be clear, yes. Judiciary, it was the Board of Appeals decision that became the body of what was approved or what went to the circuit court, the appellate court, and the Court of Appeals.
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
But I did want to add that because the Board of Appeals, they're our representatives.
Thank you.
We appoint them, and I think Deborah Dobkin's decision was actually a very good one. And I encourage everyone to read it, dated August 11th, 2021.
Councilman Patoka?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilman Marks, thank you for pointing out the opinion of Deborah Dobkins. I think anyone who knows Ms. Dobkins knows that she is the highest level of professional, especially in the field of law. Mr. Hickey, could you describe in this, you gave us, and I don't know if you can see the colors to the folks that are here, there's a green part, a yellow part, and a blue part. Could you describe like which of those parcels or shapes is green space and which is where there would be hardscape?
Yes, sir. The blue shaded, so the blue line would be around the northern parcel where the building is proposed. The full shaded is in blue, would be the building itself that would front face Joppa. And the back, which we've called the southern parcel, which is rimmed in yellow, would be permanently preserved as forested green space.
So I've walked the site, and I remember the site being kind of in a bit of a, having lower topography and being a bit of a valley. Where would the building, and I haven't looked at the drawings or anything, so I apologize for that, but where would the building be in relation to where the topography dips down to a lower level?
So I don't want to get too far out of my depth, and Deputy Director Locker's here if we want to get into that, but my understanding is that the building itself is with the higher topography, the stormwater management, as the water would come down the side, down towards Harris Hills, would be remediated back into the forested area.
But when you were stating that there would be less stormwater runoff, I think you were suggesting not in the current condition of the land where water takes its natural path, filtrates through the ground, and there's no change in the flow or velocity of the water.
Correct.
But you're talking about the flow and velocity of the water once the building is there and then how that's managed. Is that correct?
Yeah, when we were first getting to know this project, we heard a lot about what the Harris Hills residents were going through as far as stormwater runoff goes. And my understanding is that the plan is established and approved would actually help remediate that issue.
And I know that this particular project took an unusual course when it was reviewed by the county council. I think there was, I've been on the council for almost 7 years, and I think we had 3 abstentions in a vote. I've never seen that before, but I think it was more of a political maneuver than a genuine vote on how you feel about a project. I don't think the council members that abstained at the time were, I think it was a kind of a pathway to allow the project to move forward, because I don't, Mr. Secretary, you have to correct me on the, yeah, so there was some, I would call it, and I know we have some state legislators here, I don't know if you see this in Annapolis, but I would call it legislative logistics to reach a certain goal, a certain path. Maybe you don't have that, but we had it happen here once. I've never seen it happen again. It was related to this project. So I know some of my colleagues on the council did say there were some unusual logistics that went on to satisfy this, even though in historic East Towson, every time somebody comes up with an idea, it's let's put it in historic East Towson. For example, I think in the 60s, there was an idea to have a power plant. And so where are we going to put it? Let's put it on the ball field in historic East Towson. Now we have some green space, which has currently, there's this very natural flow. Water comes from the sky, goes to tributaries. There's a flow, it trickles through the ground, and there's no change to the natural flow or velocity. When we create additional hardscapes, we have to manage the flow and velocity of water, so we have stormwater retention ponds, which, by the way, are not recreational areas. Just I want to say that they are. I wouldn't count that as green space in any way. They're just to manage the stormwater. I know I see a planning director here from Howard County, so she might want to chime in on that one. It's time for her remarks. But so we're talking about the change of management of stormwater once we have a huge amount of new hardscape in place rather than the natural land that was there, that was the open space that folks in historic East Towson, and even, I would say, not just historic East Towson, but even the environs of historic East Towson, the areas around historic East Towson could enjoy. And especially in an area like Towson, my colleague, actually two of my colleagues know this far better than I do, Councilman Ertel, Councilman Marks, know that it's a highly congested area. Open space is extremely valuable, especially as it relates to interbeltway neighborhoods. If you, let's say, for example, you have 2 acres of open space, and it's out in, let's say, no offense to you, Councilman Marks, but in your district, which has large suburban feel to it, it's less impactful than preserving open space that's inside the Beltway. And so, to me, these are the decisions that we, the majority of our population lives in these areas. We have, historic African-American communities that are in these areas. And I learned today, it's really unfortunate, but really a sad day for open space in Baltimore County for our interbeltway communities. I learned this morning that the county was withdrawing its interest in creating new open space in the Woodmore area, about an acre-plus lot, where we had a meeting 2 weeks ago trying to discuss whether it's passive, whether it's active, but it was an old overflow parking lot that's from the 50s. It's in total disrepair on Sedgemore, and all of a sudden the county is withdrawing it on the same day that we're going to, I'm trying to be professional on this, on the same day that we're going to continue a process that eliminates and destroys open space that exists in another interbeltway neighborhood in the 6th district. And so it's, I don't know, it's kind of a sad day, I think, for Baltimore County and what we're reviewing here today.
Councilman Patoka, did you hear what he said? I'm going to build on it anyway.
Let me just finish up, Councilman Crandall.
And that is the threat.
I get it.
And we're supposed to comply with the VCA that this council had no responsibility of signing or even knowing about it. County executive signed it at the time. You weren't even in office then, I was. And we're supposed to comply with it. And if we don't comply with it, we get threats from the head of the Department of Housing.
I understand your point, Councilman Crandall. Let me just.
So I appreciate what you're saying, Councilman Patoka.
Thank you.
I do. I'm just, but they're saying they're going to build anyway.
I got that message. And I just wanted to kind of go over some of the parameters of.
No matter what we said in the past.
It's not just a building, but it's a space, it's not hardscape, new hardscape on top of old hardscape. It's new hardscape on top of what was formerly a park. So I think I made my point on that. And if anybody from the administration is here, I would say, and they're here, is these interbeltway neighborhoods, I mean, we have to we have to be thoughtful in how we're going to treat our open space, and how 1 acre or 2 acres, and what's the size of this, 4 acres?
It's a little over 3, I believe.
Over 3. So every bit of open space in an Interbeltway neighborhood is incredibly valuable. And so it's, I don't know, it's kind of a sad day. And when I learned today about what's happening in the Woodmore community and the county's withdrawal, sudden withdrawal of interest in open space in another largely African-American community, it's just a sad day. So let me move off of that and talk a little bit about the VCA. Can you tell us, this council, like what the metrics are on the VCA right now? So we need 1,000 units by when? How many do we have right now? With this particular development, and without it, what are our numbers now in terms of meeting our VCA compliance?
We're at 908 units approved as of this very moment. And approved means that you have all approved some way for us to put money into the deal. That goes on the approved list. Then we have to get those to the constructed or renovated and then leased. So I can provide you a full matrix of exactly where we are.
So 908 approved.
908 approved. These 50 units that are in Red Maple, because the original investment was approved in 2019, have been on that list since then. So at a time and place where if this developer were to not move forward any longer, we'd have to remove those from the list. So that would drop us to 858. We have several projects in the pipeline. I'm working with several of you on those. They just all, in some way, shape, or form, have different logistics challenges that we hope we're going to make our way through. But it would drop us to 858 approved without Red Maple on the list.
So it'd be 858, so we'd need about 142. Are other developers that do business in Baltimore County, are their construction expenses going up similarly to Homes for America?
I mean, this one's a little unusual in the length of time that it was delayed, coupled with just crossing over that line of everything changing. But yeah, I think it's Baltimore County, it's the state, it's around the country. It's a combination of construction costs and financing costs are going up.
Are we subsidizing all of those? Are we adding like additional dollars for other developments around the county?
We've been approached by multiple developers doing VCA deals, warning us that some coupling of lack of federal resources, shrinking state resources, or increasing costs, particularly building, are going to require us to take each of these deals. We're going to be reviewing each of these based on the need, how much they can validate the need, how hard they can close the gap, what's that actual final gap, and then if we have the money.
It kind of is a rerun for me. I was not on the council at the time, but I remember reading about Towson Row, and what was that, $43 million? And I just wonder, is this the business that Baltimore County should be in? Of, look, if you can't make the development work. Now, to me, it's totally different if, let's say, we have a food desert, and we're trying to get a supermarket to an area that hasn't had the ability to have fresh food. I think that's an area we should surely, absolutely incentivize, because we need to have fresh foods, produce for our communities, and we have lots of food deserts. I know Ashley Wallington, who does, I think I saw her here, she does, don't think she does this job nowadays, but she used to be the county executive's go-to on trying to minimize areas of food insecurity. She did a great job of that, and I think that's why the CAO gave her a big promotion. But it was such a great need that the county executive's office said, hey, we need to do that. And so much so, I think we should incentivize it, and I think we have on the west side as well. But I don't want to belabor the point, because I know we have lots of speakers, but I do just want to conclude that, to me, it just seems like we're doing the wrong thing if we are subsidizing the loss of open space in Interbeltway neighborhoods and and then compounding that issue by withdrawing our commitment to develop open space in other Interbeltway neighbors. It's totally backwards, and I'm just surprised that I learned this news today, and at the same time where we're I don't know, I feel like we're going all in when we don't have a great hand. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep, thank you, Councilman Patoka. Director Hickey, one of the concerns that I've had about this project from the beginning is the environmental piece of it. And, you paint a picture of, we're going to keep this southern parcel. But the reality is this project got a environmental variance. It's been sitting there for a long time, and suddenly it got an environmental variance. And when I pulled the data for why it was approved, the reason for it was not that we did extraordinary steps to, and we may have done extraordinary steps, but the reason for the approval of the variance was something called practical difficulty, which to me sounds like, well, we can't really build here, but we're going to, it's hard, so we're just going to give you a variance and let you do it anyway. I mean, can you speak to that?
I think this is exactly why Deputy Director Locker is here. If we don't mind, I want to make sure that.
And this is actually an area where I've looked at this as a council person, and like maybe we need to eliminate, and I'm sure Deputy Director Locker can speak to this, but it just seems to me that that's not a very good reason to approve something for having a category called practical difficulty.
Good evening, Council. Brady Locker, I'm Deputy Director of the Environmental Department here on behalf of Horacio Tablada, the Director. So as I understand, the question about the forest buffer variance goes to the legal standard that is our guidepost in how we review these for practical difficulty and unwarranted hardship is the standard. And over the course of this project, our department worked very closely with a real fine-tooth comb to try to find what are the least destructive plans for this building on the environmental resources at the south of the site, where we have forested wetlands. After going through many iterations of the back and forth, including the flipping of the building, and looking at other proposals that included parking areas and pathways down in the actual protected forested wetlands that were proposed, we found the best possible orientation of this project to have a minimal impact at the very top of the forest buffer area, and that still maintained the adequate setbacks from the wetlands that were delineated by our department that have been subsequently approved by MDE as recently, I believe, as October. And to increase the benefit of this project to those resources below, so we have about a 12,000 square foot offset on the top of the forest buffer, right where those two colors meet, to increase the vegetated buffer down below where the water's flowing through with more trees. So we found actually that the solution through the forest buffer variance actually improved the functioning of that buffer area with the additional vegetated plantings and the slowing down of the stormwater through the site for that 24-hour storm event.
Okay, and Mr. Locker, I'm sure you're aware that we've had to buy, Baltimore County has had to buy, I think we're up to 8 houses now that we've had to buy downstream from this. This site is actually the beginning of the Herring Run. It's sitting on a sponge. We're going to put a holding tank under it that theoretically, if we have a 4-inch rain, will fill in could fill in an hour or two, and then all that water's coming off the site. It's not catching any more water because, but we already have a problem downstream, and this is one of the questions we have is we're taking the sponge at the top of the hill where we already have a problem because we've built all around this thing. And, you know, when's it end? Because if this exacerbates the problem more, the county, you're going to be coming back to us in 3 or 4 years saying we got to buy 6 more houses downstream.
So I understand the
So
concern.
we're building new housing, but yet we're eliminating traditional housing that's been here for 70 years, that we've lost several of these houses that were built in the 40s.
So Councilman, as you're aware, our department has been delegated by MDE the stormwater management program for Baltimore County, in which professional engineers review these calculations and projections of rainfall data and before and after conditions. And after going through these reviews, that's actually are still ongoing. I believe we're on our 4th review of the final stormwater development plan. But we will not approve a project that increases the amount of water coming off of this property during that 24-hour period after a 100-year storm. So because we're prohibited from doing so by the regulations that we've been delegated to review for. So while there are other concerns in the watershed that are very complicated, our task for this project is to look at this project alone and whether it meets the regulations that Baltimore County and the state have for development review. And Director Tablada and I are both confident that it does meet them.
Mr. Chair? Yes. Seems like there's been a lot of machinations going on in the administration with this property. Who owns this property?
God. We pull this one out. Well, it's owned by 2 different. I just have to find it in the notes, sir. Sorry.
Having a tough time, are you?
No, it's 2 different LLC names. You know how they...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know how tough it is.
Don't understand, sir.
Who owns the property? Why has there been so much stuff done over the years for this property? Answer the question. Somebody answer the question.
I don't know if I understand what you mean by so many things done for the property, sir.
You just got questioned, you and Mr. Locklear just got questioned on why are we trying to build on a property that is supposed to be protected wetlands? But they've gotten variances. They've gone through all these things that you've already testified and said that they're already approved. Who owns the property?
Councilman, I'm looking it up on SDAT as we speak right now.
Okay.
I just wanted to correct the record.
Well, while you're doing that, look up the campaign contributions of the person who owns the property.
Councilman, these are not the types of things our department gets into when verifying.
Yeah, well, maybe your department should.
Okay.
We'll get you the ownership information in a second, Councilman.
Did you have any more? Because I think we're gonna try to get to the speakers. I know people have been waiting a while.
Absolutely.
Unless there's other questions from the record. Councilman Catch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Tongue-tied.
Terry, can you tell me, does your department have a fixed number of how much a unit would cost? Or what's your goal? I mean, do you want units to not cost more than $200,000 or $300,000?
We would love to have a really solid metric for per unit costs. Each of the deals that we're doing now, be they renovation, substantial renovation, preservation, or new construction, have been wildly all over the place. I can send you, we have a matrix that'll show you, like, we average out the per unit cost of all the different VCA deals we've done. The per unit cost for this in 2019 would have been the second cheapest of any of the per unit costs. Now it's like fifth from the top. There's also our investment in the projects. And then, of course, there's the whole tax credit model that, you know, there's a lot of discussion about tax credit models and how that works and what it puts in. But we'll show you. I can track for you. We've been looking at what that is because we do a financial validation of every deal that we do now. So when we take it to loan review and ultimately bring it to the council and address the auditor, we can show you where the assessment came up and where we feel compared to market rates, return on investment, that it's a good use of funding for that project. But happy to share that with you.
I know the chair of the council has.
Mr. Hickey, it seems to me that the original math on this was about close to $450,000 per unit, which seems to me like, you know, why don't we just build people houses and let them build generational wealth than build a building for someone that's, you know, probably useful life is 30 years and then we're going to have to rehab it again. And it looks like we're up to somewhere in the neighborhood now with additional monies that this building is going to be around $600,000 plus per unit, which to me, I don't know if that's what we're doing in other places, but it seems like a lot of that has to do with the amount of work that needs to be done to put it on this site that's somewhat inappropriate for a building of this size.
I think you're echoing a national conversation that goes into I mean, we could get into a much bigger conversation of the cost of subsidized affordability versus homeownership and the like. The cost is generally attributed to all of the government regulation and protocols that go into big subsidized developments. It's not necessarily unique to this site. We do have challenging topographies, but the counties, and we validate what the county's investment is. Because this is a low-income housing tax deal, a lot of the validation on this project is done at the state level. So we get already validated numbers. But at our investment amount, which would total $4 million, without a pilot, I would add, this is just a straight loan, not a pilot on this deal. It would be relatively inexpensive based on other deals we've done as far as our investment goes. But I enjoy our conversations about subsidized housing in general and the math behind it. And I think a lot of that's going to be changing in the coming years, but it's going to be tied to the ability for local jurisdictions to do creative investment or tax assistance to get these things off the ground and keep them operating.
Well, and this is just a commentary from me, not anyone else's opinion necessarily. But, you know, we know in our VCA that there is no home ownership opportunities for anyone. And yet we're building, or developers, or we're being part of projects that are, to me, seem wildly expensive. And at the same time, it seems like we're putting people in housing that is almost like, you're going to be in rental housing the rest of your life. Have fun. Instead of looking at some of these things practically and trying to help people, you know, build a life, build some equity, have the pride of home ownership. And I know this isn't you. I know you didn't do this. But it's hard to listen to this, you know, these conversations sometimes when you hear these numbers. You're like, what are we doing, and who came up with these ideas where there's so much opportunity to help people where we're just almost, like I said, sentencing them to a life of pay your rent, because that's all you're ever going to do. I mean, hopefully some of them, because of affordable housing, are able to save some dollars and eventually move out and buy their own house if that's what they want to do. But it would be nice if we had, and I'm looking forward to the point where we get past this VCA so we can start maybe looking at opportunities where we do home ownership and start financing things like that.
Couldn't agree more. And for another
I
time.
know you do. I know we've had these conversations, but.
Yeah. And for another time, we're pivoting a lot of our home ownership or our home counseling that is funded through the federal government to helping people pivot to home ownership over time. So look forward to continuing those conversations.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions before we get to the speakers? Councilman Cash.
So you'll send me your chart of the analysis, which I look
Yes, sir.
forward to.
Yeah, we'll distribute it to the council.
You know, one of the problems that I've had with, during the zoning period of time,
Sure.
the homes in my district, they sell for an awful lot. I mean, we have, where the Hunt Valley Inn is, we're going to have townhouses selling for $650,000 to $750,000. And what opportunity is there for people who don't have that kind of income to be able to afford to live where the Hunt Valley Inn is today? And it seems to me that the government, somebody needs to look into this, because we are spending, I mean, if it's truly $600,000 per unit at Red Maple, I mean, that's a lot. Just think what you could buy for that. Or a family could buy a house, townhouse, whatever. And so, you know, I hope that we take a look at this and figure out a way. And by the way, on Padonia Road, the top of the hill, there's 28 houses, and they are intended to be purchased by the renter in 15 years, I believe. So it's in my district. So you're familiar with it. Yeah, I mean, it's a good concept. And what it is there's income levels you can't make above a certain amount. And part of the rent goes toward possibly a down payment, and the people have the option, will have it in 15 years, of buying the home. Of course, that's what we want. We want people invested in our communities by investing in a house. And ownership is a huge plus, and we need to do everything we can to encourage that in Baltimore County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have several speakers, and unless, is everybody okay? Oh, Councilman Jones.
Yes, Mr. Hickey.
Sorry.
Quick question for you.
I thought we were done.
Just a quick question. So this project will be managed by Homes for America?
They can speak to that directly. They would own the property. Their choice of management company, we're not there yet.
They're going to speak today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha.
All right. Thank you. So first up, we have our esteemed senator here in Towson, Senator Mary Washington. Senator Washington, come on up. Welcome to the County Council chamber. Senator, you're just going to hit that button on the mic there, and it'll turn your green light on, and you'll know you're live. There you go.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. For the record, Senator Mary Washington. I represent the 43rd Legislative District, which includes portions of Baltimore City, but also Towson. And the neighborhoods included historic East Towson, West Towson, a portion of your district, Towson Manor Village, Harris Hills, Knollwood, BG Substation, a number of communities, and sort of speaks to why I have an interest here. So I appreciate Chair Ertel and all the members of the council for giving me an opportunity to provide, I would say, an informational testimony and to share some things that I would want to know were I making a similar decision. I serve on the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee, and part of that portfolio is indeed housing policy and housing financing and the types of affordable housing programs, et cetera, that you're contemplating here. So I have a great deal of understanding about it. And so I'm specifically interested in that item of the Housing Opportunities Fund and the request for an additional $2 million. Now, as I said, this issue matters to me. I just want to make it really clear that I support and believe in affordable housing. I've supported it across the state. I do not support issues of NIMBYism when there comes to opposition. So none of what I'm presenting here today, nor of any of the work that Delegate Forbes and I should ever be construed to facilitate or be a part of any type of argument to that extent. And, you know, affordable housing we know is really important. And, you know, it's important for people to have a roof over their heads. It's stable. It helps reduce poverty, all these things. We know that affordable housing is important. However, as you are thinking and being asked today, where that housing is sited is also important. And we have to consider environmental impacts, community conservation. But here today, we want to also make sure that the money makes sense, that the state and the local investment of very dear and increasingly shrinking dollars makes sense. So it is important that at every stage there be a great deal of scrutiny, and I really appreciate and respect this council for the questions that you've asked. I believe they were right on target. And what is at issue is whether or not the county should provide additional $2 million towards a loan. Now, what I'd like to do, and I appreciate the staff's notes, and don't worry, this won't go on for 20 minutes. It'll probably be more like 8 to 9. But according to the staff notes and to Director Hickey's testimony, that they haven't executed the loan. Actually, I haven't heard anybody say that. So part of the problem is that the $2.1 million that was originally approved in 2019 has not been executed, right? So that means they don't, I guess they don't have it. And they're attributing the fact that it hasn't been executed to project delays that stem from legal challenges. And also they mention economic factors, et cetera. So they asked for an additional $2 million. And as was stated here today, that would raise the original 2018 cost of, you know, 23-24 to 34 million. So in Secretary Hickey's, or Director Hickey's story, or narrative about the causes and consequences and what has happened. And I think the council has also highlighted some of these omissions. Mentions, just kind of jumps right to, in his letter, in his 7-day letter, it just jumps right to 2019. You know, talks about the original request. And you're right, you never voted on it. It was just sort of went into effect. But at that time, I'm not sure that anyone really thought anything, because it would not be unusual for the county to, at that time, commit $2.1 million for a loan. But he left out a couple of really key things. So since the loan was approved, there's a concurrent process that Baltimore County engages in when it's reviewing development, and it takes time. So the existing, you know, program procedures take time. So it's not simply because of some community members complaining or they don't want public housing. It's that we all know that, frankly, working with the state and working with the city to do anything or over county can take time. So the developer in May of 2020 had requested a variance and an easement, and that was denied by the Department of the Environmental Protection. So there's been discussion about the denial or delay caused by the board, you know, your board, and you're right, that was something that was omitted. But from the very beginning, the variance, and just so that you know, a conservation variance, so state law, which is also why I'm here, because I am interested in, you know, ensuring that the local ordinances that are established to support or to, you know, enforce state law are adhered to. And so forest conservation buffer says, okay, if you have a forest, a stream or whatever, you should have 100 feet. Okay. This variance took it to 24 feet. So from 100 feet to 24 feet. And you're right, it is unusual for something to be allowed to be built that close. Not unheard of, but unusual. And the board, your Baltimore County Department, said that it would negatively impact environmental resources, so it denied it. It also denied them using this lower lot for a parking lot. So, you know, sorry to say that, sorry, in April, it's when they actually asked for a waiver from your local open space program. This developer said, would you waive your open space commitments so that we can get this deal done? So it allowed for the developer to build parking lots where the forested area is located. So maybe there's just a misspeaking in the last testimony, but this variance allows for forested areas to be made into a parking lot. Then somehow, July 31st, DEPS approved it. And they approved the forest conservation easement for sidewalks and culvert repairs. Then you begin this process of a hearing, hearing officer's hearing, and that's when the plan is to be reviewed. And actually, even as a part of that process, as this is November 19, 2020, there's a number of back and forth, and for folks that are listening at home, just look at Article 32, Title 4 of the Baltimore Code, where it really talks about the regulations. And so Red Maple submitted something they called a 5-sheet red line development plan, and then another plan, and et cetera. And the hearing officers, they actually took a lot of time. There was like 5 days of hearing because there was a lot of community testimony and experts' testimony about concerns about the plan. And as was said, that the administrative law judge approved the plan. And, you know, as a part of your process, the administrative, there was a review and you took it to your Board of Appeals. And yes, the Board of Appeals had a different view. And they actually said, and this is what I'm reading from what the Board of Appeals said, after a thorough review of the facts, testimony, and law in this manner, we unanimously agree to reverse the findings of the administrative law judge and deny the plan. The board found that the administrative law judge committed an error. Now remember, this is they only focused on the East Towson design standards. There has never been any review or legal opinion about the environmental impacts, which are real. So there's never been that to date. So they found that. So when that opinion was issued, and it was strongly worded, you should read it as they said, where your board said basically that the administrative law judge ignored testimony, that they could find no justifiable reason to have approved that plan. That's in the text. That is what they said. And they said simply that the administrative law judge failed to apply any of the standards, and they should have. So it wasn't the community. Okay, so that was the decision. Now, that didn't end the project. That would have just said, this plan doesn't work. So there possibly could have been an opportunity to go back and do another plan, but Homes for America doubled down and sued. They took it outside of Baltimore County, outside of your purview, to the courts, but on a very narrow issue about the application, of the design standards. That, again, I just wanted to say, so that those are delays. Also, there weren't hearings. The hearings were still going on. The reviews were still going on. All these things were still going on. So it is at least disingenuous for the developer and your director to attribute any delay to something other than the ability or the responsibility to carefully review any type of programs and to listen to community input. So, the other thing, so there's that. So, the other point that I'd want to make is that, as a representative of about 48,000 people who live within Baltimore County, I am concerned, or I would be concerned about the impact of shifting $2 million from the Housing Opportunities Program. So in 2019, the money for the loan actually came from the Economic Development Revolving Finance Fund. That's where those types of money is supposed to come from. And so that was a $2 million. Now, think about what 2.1 million is today. In the FY26 budget for the county, the Housing and Community Development Department, the entire department gets 1.2 million. The entire department gets 2 million. Your economic development has been appropriated 2.2 million. So again, sit with that a minute. Okay. Now, special funds for this year's fiscal year and last year for the Housing Opportunity Fund. This is where the director is proposing that the $2 million be shifted from. The entire appropriation for the Housing Opportunities Fund for FY26 is $3.3 million. Now, while it does seem like it could be considered an appropriate use, I would be concerned that that fund is also used to provide financial and non-financial assistance to renters, to homeowners, to home buyers who want to acquire and rehab or resell. It allows to exercise land banking, which, by the way, could be a use of the property. The county also has stormwater MP4, responsibilities in excess of millions and millions of dollars that such a project to restore wetlands could count towards that. And it could generally take action. So I did a little math, and if you award, or if this appropriation is approved, there's only 1.3 million left to do all that. And this one appropriation would result in reducing the money that you have for your entire Housing Opportunities Fund by 60%. More than half of all the available funds to support people buying houses, to support people renovating their houses. The program also supports seniors in trying to repair their houses. So what happens if it's, awarded? You know, it increases the capacity to acquire programs. There's a closing cost. The county can lend up to $10,000 to income eligible purchasers to help closing costs. There will be $2 million less of that available. Okay. I have two more concerns. One is that the fact that equity is a significant source of funding. So when they talked about, you know, this project is funded, over 14 million of it is funded by equity associated with low-income tax credits. So the equity contribution of 14 million, it's kind of not real money. It's an equity investment. And it's an investment contributed by investors or groups of investors in exchange for getting low-income tax credits. So you get low income by investing in this 14 million, quite possibly some group of investors could write off the amount of their investment off their federal income tax. That was the deal. And again, the idea was to incentivize. We need to incentivize, but sometimes incentivization, you know, we learned this in the foreclosure crisis. We learned that with the financing, the creative financing that have happened. We learned that sometimes the use is, what's legal is not necessarily ethical or the right thing to do. And so just in terms of the scale of that, to give you a sense of the scale of that investment from a state perspective, an equity contribution of 14 million, it does indicate a substantial project. So for context, the state of Maryland, the whole state of Maryland, allocated 13 million in these types of tax credits and their state rental program in 2022 to support 15 affordable housing projects. So essentially, this project is depending on, at least, and their hopes probably is they'll get more, but this project, based on the allocation of the 14 million equity, could be used to do 6 or 7 affordable. So if you want to compare to other, you know, across the state, that's the number you look. And so you'll see, so that's out of source. And then finally, the true costs, you're right, in 2016, Baltimore County started purchasing flood-prone properties south, you know, of this community. It continues to be a challenge. You should know that I can provide, and I will provide the council with letters from MDE that state that there are, one, that they have never received a request. So all of this time, well, until November, but they've never received a request to review any plan. Okay, so I have a letter that's dated, in 2004, we started doing this, that says they have never received the plan. They've never reviewed a plan. And interestingly, January of this year, the day before the legislative session started, the property owner, I guess people don't want to say that name that begins with M, but the property owner and your Department of Sustainability had a walkthrough and somehow filled out a piece of paper where the department said that there were no regulated waterways on the site. That is different than saying they approve it, but also the document, we are asking for the review of the document that was provided by the MDE water person, because it failed to check that this was in a 100-year floodplain. And there's a lot of kind of inconsistencies, and nobody really seems to know exactly where that came from. So no one in state of Maryland is claiming that we don't have an interest, that there isn't a waterway there. So in conclusion, I appreciate this opportunity. Clearly, I stay up late at night. I learned a lot over the last 3 weeks about the relationship between, but I think it just speaks to, it's really important for the, I guess for the integrity of these types of programs, that we adhere to the rules, and that we don't allow the mission to be harmed by making exceptions that bring the whole program into question. And so these are the types of questions, and this is, so is $2 million, worth having 60% less dollars to do a lot of the things that Baltimore County residents need today, right? The project, still, I will tell you, there's been no permits, there's been no state review. That would still happen. There is a forest delineation plan that has expired. It was conducted in 2018. It's supposed to be done every 5 years. So this, there are lots of other issues. You've done this, the county, I believe, has done what it could and what it should have in 2019 to support it how it did. And I believe that this additional request is not in the public interest. So thank you so much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator Washington. Any questions for the senator?
I don't have a question for the senator, but Senator, you and I were allies not too long ago. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Oh, yes.
Or not.
Yes,
but
yes,
you helped me advocate for my community, and I never really got a chance to thank you for your support and for your work on that effort.
Absolutely.
And I know you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
All righty.
To begin with that. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you.
Good having you.
Oh, sorry. I meant to say hello to my fellow former colleagues, Pat Young and Wade Koch. Good to see you here.
Thank you, Senator. Next up, we have Delegate Kathy Forbes. Good afternoon, good evening, Delegate Forbes.
Good evening, Council, Chair Ertel, and members of the Baltimore County Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Delegate Kathy Forbes, and I have the privilege of representing District 43B, the Towson area, in the Maryland House of Delegates, where I serve on the Appropriations Committee and the Capital Budget Subcommittee. I'm here this evening to ask you to reject Agenda Number 5 under Miscellaneous Business, which would provide an additional $2 million loan for the Red Maple Place rental housing development. This development has been controversial since the day it was announced. And today, by your questioning, you have shown that you've heard my constituents' concerns, and I really appreciate that. Red Maple is an environmental danger, an absurdly expensive proposal, and yet another insult to the historically Black community of East Towson. Let me start with the environmental concerns. This construction project is opposed by the Greater Baltimore Group of the Sierra Club, Blue Water Baltimore, the Green Towson Alliance, and Friends of the Herring Run, and for good reason. The property is located where the Herring Run begins, on a site with a full 30-foot drop from Joppa Road on the north end to East Pennsylvania on the south side of the property. And already, just downstream from this project, as Councilman Ertel pointed out and Councilman Marks knows very well, the county has used federal, state, and local funds to purchase 8 homes that repeatedly flood. Even today, I have a constituent who is regularly in contact with the county, hoping their home will qualify for purchase, because despite their ardent and expensive efforts, the regular flooding is eroding their yard. It is our fear, and science would indicate, that building on the parcel Homes for America has chosen will increase the already existing flooding down the Herring Run. Secondly, I would ask you to not approve this additional loan because Red Maple, as proposed, was already affordable housing. In 2018, when it was proposed to the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, the cost was projected was $23.8 million for 56 planned units. Dividing the cost by the number of units, each unit would have cost $425,000 at that time. But that was in 2018. In your agenda, the analysis indicates that the total cost has increased by about $10 million to $34.3 million. Dividing that cost by the number of units, each unit will now cost more than $600,000. Those extraordinarily high costs are driven by the difficulty of engineering and building on this site. And finally, and most importantly, this project will destroy the last existing forest buffer for East Towson. This historically Black community was founded by formerly enslaved people who, when freed from the Hampton Mansion, built their own vibrant community here. But since then, this community has been systematically eroded and disregarded. In 1968, as Councilman Patoka pointed out, BGE was granted property in East Towson and built this power substation that later expanded, demolishing 7 historic homes. The land had previously been a baseball field for the community, and the Negro League baseball teams played there. East Towson also lost neighbors and homes when the county decided to build the Towson Library on its existing site and the district court building and parking garage they share. And then there's the Towson bypass, which unfortunately did not bypass East Towson. They bulldozed more historic homes for a road that is, by all accounts, extremely underutilized. Councilman Patoka, you talked about how valuable green space is to a community. When I toured this neighborhood with older residents, they called this piece of property camp. When they were little kids, they went to camp there. Early on, we proposed other solutions for Homes for America, including building on the site directly next door to the site they have chosen. The property was for sale and was zoned residential and already developed. It has easy access north and south and east and west, things that the chosen site does not have. And it was not a steep hill. The community asked that Homes for America explore that site for this project. We were told the state funding was attached to the initial site and could not be moved, but I've seen no evidence that this suggestion was explored. I respectfully request that you reject the loan of additional taxpayer funds to further assault the East Towson community and the Herring Run. To my knowledge, this project has not yet begun construction. So please, if you have $2 million to invest in affordable housing, during these incredibly difficult budgetary times, invest in a project that is under construction, where the developer has worked with the community and not rejected community concerns from day one. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Forbes. Does anybody have questions for Delegate Forbes? Thank you so much. Ms. Belcastro, I'll go to you for the following speakers, unless you want me to continue.
Up to you, Mr. Chair.
I'll let you do it. Okay. You're so good at it.
Our next registered speaker is John Deal, who is here in person.
Mr. Deal, how are you? Absolutely. You can come up, and the mic's already on for you.
Thank you all for your time. My name is John Deal. I'm a Towson resident. I'm a taxpayer of Baltimore County. I'm an advocate of affordable housing and a proponent of this project. I've appreciated today's conversation and discourse. I find that the beauty of our system, and I'd like to add a little to it. I work in construction. I understand the difficulties of the cost increases since 2019. I further, though not in detail and not expert as the developer may, but I understand exactly why low-income housing tax credits exist. They do not exist for a nefarious reason. They exist to make really challenging projects that serve the public good possible. These projects don't pencil, to use the vernacular, without support. They do not work. These are not private developments. These are low-income housing tax credit supported deals. I've known for a long time the developer on this project, and I believe that they bring to this project the vision, the mission to help people who need help. It's, to me, as simple as that. I will not pretend to know the engineering, much of the history of this, or whatever the logistical maneuverings that were referred to earlier. I simply know it provides housing for people who need it. I believe Councilman Patoka mentioned earlier, Pikesville Armory will be transformative. I believe that to be true. I am certain that Red Maple Place will be similarly transformative to the people, if built, who will be fortunate enough to live there. And that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Appreciate you coming in today. Any questions for Mr. Deal? Okay, Ms. Belcastro, next speaker.
Our next
Thank you,
speaker
sir.
is Kirsten Hoffman, who is here in person.
Ms. Hoffman. Good to see you.
All right, council members, my name is Kirsten Hoffman, and I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of the Green Towson Alliance. The Green Towson Alliance respectfully asks that no additional loans be provided to Homes for America to facilitate the building of Red Maple Place in historic East Towson. Baltimore County provided a loan for the project of $2.1 million in 2019, and the additional $2 million loan requested is simply not a good investment for the county or its citizens. GTA has followed this project closely over the last 6 years. We have advocated for responsible, sustainable design and good environmental stewardship, which this project has not achieved at this point. The site, as you've heard, is a steeply sloped forested area, about 2.8 acres between Pennsylvania Avenue and Joppa Road in historic East Towson. It is directly adjacent to the headwaters of a tributary, the Herring Run, and contains the only remaining wetland in Towson. The tributary, as part of the Herring Run, is an interjurisdictional waterway occurring in both Baltimore County and Baltimore City. And what happens on this property has wide-ranging consequences affecting nearby neighbors, as well as all of those downstream. The land currently acts as a sponge, absorbing rainwater and runoff from the many, many paved surfaces around the site, and it hasn't been developed before. Towson has few remaining forested areas of this size, The trees on this site play a critical role in absorbing and filtering rainwater and provide great value to the residents of East Towson community in the form of cleaner air, cooler temperatures, habitat for wildlife, improved water quality, and improved physical and mental health that comes with being near a forested area. The Towson area has already seen what intense development with impervious surfaces coupled with intensifying storms due to climate change can do along the Herring Run. In 2016, the county purchased and demolished 6 flood-prone properties downstream of this site. This is a costly management strategy, both in terms of taxpayer dollars and the tragedy of losing one's home. County funds would be better spent on mitigation projects to alleviate frequent flooding along Pennsylvania Avenue adjacent to the site and downstream. This proposed development is only possible because the county granted an environmental variance. Due to the steep slopes and erosion on the site, a 100-foot forest buffer is required, but the developer obtained a variance that reduced the required buffer to only 25 feet. Forest buffers perform essential environmental services, including filtering, slowing and absorbing stormwater, and cooling the water in the stream for the creatures that live there. It makes little fiscal or environmental sense for Baltimore County to continue to invest in a project with so many negative effects to the adjacent neighbors and the many neighbors downstream. The Green Towson Alliance asks the council to vote no on additional loan for Red Maple Place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Any questions for Ms. Hoffman? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Adria Crutchfield, who is online.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Ertel and members of the council. My name is Adria Crutchfield, and I'm the Executive Director of the Baltimore Regional Housing Partnership, here in strong support of the Department of Housing and Community Development's request for the council's approval of a $2 million loan for the Red Maple Place development. The RHP helps 4,300 low-income families in our region transition from areas of concentrated poverty to areas of opportunity through a combination of housing choice vouchers and mobility counseling. Our mission is to expand access to thriving neighborhoods across the region. Red Maple Place represents exactly that access. It will create 56 mixed-income homes in the heart of Towson, not East Towson, just steps from jobs, transit, schools, and services. It's an important opportunity for families, and as you are aware, it helps fulfill the county's commitment under the 2016 HUD agreement to create 1,000 affordable homes by 2027. We are 2 years away from that deadline. At the same time, it will create over 300 construction and property management jobs, contributing to the local economy. The project is already fully approved by the county. The development plan is fully vested, and this body approved an initial $2.1 million loan for the project in 2019. Nothing has changed about the project in that time, but the delays caused by the circuit and appellate court processes have created a gap in funding, and as a result of the drastic rise in construction costs. This loan will close the gap and allow this long-promised, much-needed housing to move forward. It is a smart investment for the county to help move these 56 apartments to completion. Rather than use the Housing Opportunity Fund dollars, which are earmarked only for affordable housing, not green space preservation, for yet to be proposed projects in other locations that could be years away from construction. Let's be clear, the need for affordable housing remains urgent. According to data from the National Low Income Housing Coalition, in the Baltimore-Columbia-Towson region, there are only 39 affordable homes available for every 100 extremely low-income renters. That is not sustainable, and it's not right. At the core, this is an investment in children and our future, our collective future. Research has shown that children who move from high poverty to low poverty neighborhoods do better across the board, achieving higher earnings, better health, and more stable family outcomes. Creating access to high quality neighborhoods is how we break cycles of poverty and grow our local economy. We urge you to approve this loan and help bring this essential project across the finish line for Baltimore County families. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crutchfield. Appreciate your testimony. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker.
Certainly. Our next speaker,
Misty Fay.
yes, is Misty Fay, who is online. Ms. Fay?
Hello. Hi, good evening.
Hello, Ms. Fay. Thank you for being here.
Can you, oh, I need to click that.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. I am the executive director of the Friends of Herring Run Parks, and I appreciate you taking the time to hear from us today because we are really here to ask you simply to be good neighbors. I know that seems like bringing the conversation down a couple of notches, but maybe that's what we need. The Herring Run flows all the way down to the Back River and out into the Chesapeake Bay. And between the headwaters where this project is located and the Back River and the Chesapeake Bay is the Herring Run Park and our neighborhoods and our residents that have houses along that space. What happens today if you decide to invest another $2.12 million of public money into this project is that you are passing the bill along to us downstream. We already have significant flooding from the Herring Run. Your own Baltimore County residents are experiencing significant flooding in this area. We have sewage overflows. We have eroding banks. This will get worse. It will. So please be good neighbors and find a good place to put quality, affordable housing. Maybe next door where it's already been impermeable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fay. Very concise. Next speaker, Ms. Castro.
Next speaker is Peter Richkes, who is here in person.
Ms. Richkes, how are you? Absolutely.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the council. For the record, my name is Peter Richkes. I live in Towson and am part of the leadership team of Indivisible Baltimore County. We strongly oppose the proposed $2 million in additional loan financing for the Red Maple Place project from the county's Housing Opportunities Fund. For many years, this project has been railroaded forward over reasonable alternatives, over legal and environmental standards, and over the objections of historic East Towson. Thank you to the council members who have already signaled your opposition. No one disputes Baltimore County's need for affordable housing or its failure to meet the goals of the VCA so far. But opposition to this project is not rooted in racism. It's rooted, as you've heard from many before me, in history, in facts, and in justice. This site is entirely inappropriate. As you've heard, implementing Red Maple Place would continue the legacy of assault on historic East Towson, as well as leveling the last green space in Towson. This was never a good faith effort to serve housing needs. A prior administration brokered the sale of a long rejected site as a political favor. The county then waived or ignored multiple development and environmental standards to make the project feasible. Community engagement was performative. Viable alternatives were dismissed. Even the name, Red Maple Place, is bitterly ironic, given how many mature trees will be destroyed. Let's be clear, this is not opposition to affordable housing. It's a call for justice. It's a call for development that is equitable, respectful, and consistent with the county's own stated values and legal obligations. The Voluntary Conciliation Agreement explicitly calls for avoiding the concentration of subsidized housing in low-income, racially segregated areas. Historic East Towson is both. We can't really pretend that this is the only path forward. Let's use our Housing Opportunities Fund to support projects that expand opportunity without repeating the injustices of the past. I urge you to vote no on this additional funding. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Richkes. I appreciate the testimony.
Our next speaker is Deborah Kleinman, who is online.
Spice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Thanks for letting me speak tonight. I am just going to read a letter that over 2,500 people have signed, and many of them are from the Greater Baltimore group of the Sierra Club, which I represent. The proposed development site at 413 East Pennsylvania Avenue is directly adjacent to a small wetland in the center of a patch of forest in East Towson that forms the headwaters of the Herring Run, a stream which ultimately flows into the Back River and the Chesapeake Bay. There are unanswered questions about the impacts of the development to the stream itself and how the development could exacerbate flooding, sewage overflows, and sewage backups into homes downstream of the site. And I live in a neighborhood that floods, unfortunately, on a regular basis. This wetland and our local streams are already struggling to handle the volume of stormwater runoff they receive. I'm concerned that this development will result in fewer trees in an already highly paved neighborhood more impervious surfaces that result in greater volumes of polluted stormwater runoff and inadequate stormwater management practices. This project has already received substantial public investment at both the county and state levels, providing even more funding despite significant community opposition and unresolved concerns about flooding, sewer capacity, and environmental degradation would be fiscally irresponsible. It's not a question of whether we support affordable housing. It's about whether we're making responsible choices about where to build it. East Towson has borne the brunt of disinvestment and environmental burden for too long, and it's time to direct taxpayer funds into the basic infrastructure repairs, upgrades that will benefit everyone in the Herring Run watershed for generations to come. Please do not approve additional funding for this flawed project. That's the letter that over 2,500 people have signed. And I also want to say that, you know, we should look into some tiny housing like Baltimore City is doing. We should also stop cutting down forests and acres of trees to put solar arrays up in this county. You know, there's a lot of projects that are happening right now that the Sierra Club is fighting, a 70, you know, the power line that they're trying to build in Baltimore County and things like that too. And it's just really, really frustrating that we are always fighting to stop cutting down trees to supposedly doing good things like solar and affordable housing. Thank you so much, guys. And I appreciate the letters I got back from most of you.
Thank you, Spice. Councilman Marks has a comment.
Spice, good to hear from you. And I want to thank you for your comments. I love the comment about the solar farms, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, you know, I want to thank you. You've worked with all of us on a bipartisan basis, and thank you for your testimony. We've heard some very good testimony here today. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Spice, thank you for your comments. And I'm not going to give away your full email address, but I was just looking at the sign-in list, and I thought, what a wonderful prefix to your email address. It's Spice Aroni. Spice Aroni. I'm not going to tell you the end of it, but the beginning is Spice Aroni. And Councilman Marks said the San Francisco treat.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I can, I feel like the universe is flipped, like kind of flipped a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit, because Miss Richis and Mary Washington and I are all on the same page on the same issue. I don't know how often that's going to happen.
Don't ruin it.
I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to ruin it.
Savor it and be silent. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly. Our next speaker is Dana Johnson, who is here in person.
Hi, Ms. Johnson. How are you today? Good.
Well, good evening. I know it's been a long evening, so I will be brief. I want to thank County Executive Klausmeier for putting forth this request, and I appreciate the council's consideration of the additional funds for the project. As you know, the project will provide homes for individuals, persons with disabilities, and families. I don't want to rehash, all the points that have been made, but I do want to just say I disagree with the way some of the history has been characterized, and I also take issue with the way some of the testimony characterizes our work and how we've approached this project. Homes for America is an award-winning nonprofit with a 30-year track record, and we will be a good long-term steward of this property should we have the opportunity to build it. We have opened a very similar project in Howard County, serving families, and we had people lined up at 5 a.m. to have an opportunity to live in that building. So the housing shortage is real. As I'm sure you are very well aware, certainly after the last hour or so, the last 5 years of legal battles have been some of the most inflationary in the last 50 years. Construction costs, and this is national data, have gone up 41% in the last 5 years. Interest rates are now double what they were in 2020. We have raised significant other funds, non-county funds, to help fill the gap. We have identified funding from federal, state, and local resources. The additional county funds are less than 25% of the total gap. With the additional funding, if it's approved, Red Maple can proceed to closing and construction start finally delivering these new homes. All housing development, and I'm sure this is things you're hearing all the time, are having a hard time getting started in this cost environment. Construction starts are down everywhere. So this is an important opportunity for the county to gain quality homes that are going to be stewarded for the long haul by Homes for America. And we really appreciate your consideration of the additional funding.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Councilman Crandall?
No questions for Ms. Johnson. I just, in my, maybe you do, Councilman Jones. No, but I just, my criticism of this project and how this came about, and then this ask for public financing of another couple $1 million towards it, is not an indictment of Homes for America. My history with you and your team in my district has been very positive. And you know, there was a project in Rosedale. You all went above and beyond in engaging the community and getting the community on board so we could get a planned unit development piece of legislation done. It's been a very successful project. So I hope you don't feel that way, that the criticism of this particular project is a criticism of your organization.
I appreciate you saying
Because
that.
it's not.
Thank you.
Because my history shows otherwise.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Councilman Jones?
Yes, Ms. Johnson, I was, you said that the additional $2 million, you had raised additional funds. What percentage of the $2 million, or how much more money did you need to raise?
We need a little over $8 million, and so $2 million is less than 25% of the total.
Okay, so it's been a long time and a long battle, and do you know how much money you've invested into this project so far?
We've invested $2 million in pre-development costs, design, engineering, legal. It's a lot of money for a modest-sized nonprofit.
Is this normal? You say it's a is this normal, the amount?
No.
So why did you go, why did you continue to move forward with it? I'm just curious.
So a good chunk of the spending was in response to the community. We redesigned the building. In 2019, we flipped the building and we had to re-engineer the whole building. That was a significant cost. I don't want to, belabor the point, but we did have support. Obviously, we got these precious tax credits from the state, and funding from the county was supported, and we thought we had support. We would never have gone down this path of investing this kind of money if we thought that we didn't have the support of the county. And so we, in 2020, the support, seemed to erode, and then we had spent a lot of money by then.
So how many bedrooms will these units be?
So we have a mix of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units, and I think, as Director Hickey shared, 3-bedroom units are very scarce. For finding an apartment that's a 3-bedroom for a family is very challenging, especially one that's affordable.
So the people that will work here, the people that would live here, are they on vouchers, or is this a workforce housing?
It will be a mix. So most of the units will serve people who are paying the rent out of their family income. We will have some folks that will have vouchers that will support their ability to pay rent.
Okay, so the ones that are paying out of their income, what is it? Is it a mix of, I don't know, 70%, 50% of the, what is it, the AMI?
Right. So there are 6 unrestricted units. They don't have any income qualifications. And then the other 50 units range from some at 30%, some at 40%, and some at 60% of the area median income.
And what is that?
It means somebody will have, it also depends on unit size. So a larger unit will have, if you have a family of 4, it's a different number than a family of 1, a household of 1. But it ranges from, at the bottom end, $25,000 up to someone making $60,000 roughly. So these are working families. These are essential workers. These are, people that really are getting squeezed out of the housing market right now.
So those people that are, what was the number, 60%?
Mm-hmm.
They're not a part of any government program. They just out working every day, and this is just what we would call a come up, a break, an opportunity.
Yeah, the subsidy, including the investment by the county, allows us to keep the rents low, despite the fact that it costs us the same amount to build a building as it does a market rate developer. And we need subsidy in order to keep the rents low and still be able to have enough money to build the building.
What will the rents be?
I don't have the specific rents.
Ballpark.
$1,000, some lower, some higher.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I think, the building will be well run, and we spent a lot of time and energy overseeing our assets and providing supportive services to residents who need them.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Crandall.
So I'm going to echo some comments that have been made by others that have testified this evening, Dana. The need for affordable housing, we can argue all day long over the VCA, and I've never I've spoken out against that numerous times. We don't need to rehash any of that. The issue at hand, though, is not the work that Homes for America does. The issue at hand is that this is a project that the community, by and large, has never wanted. And now we're being asked to continue to fund it beyond what the subsidies are to create affordable housing. So you understand the situation that we're in. I don't know if you have a comment to that, but I mean, this is a project that was unpopular years and years ago that the community did not want in this place. And I know a couple of the people that have testified here today are advocates for affordable housing, just not in this spot. And we're the fiduciary for Baltimore County, and we're being asked to put in another, $2.1 million into a project that the community does not want. So how do we balance that? How do we?
I think what I would say
Yeah,
is that
please.
Your jobs, and, I'll take the risk of trying to articulate what I think your role is to do what is in the best interest of the county at large and not what's in the best interest of the neighbors. The county has this housing shortage, and there are, it will begin to impact the economy if the folks who run the economy, meaning the essential workers, if they don't have a place to live, they've got to commute from Pennsylvania or other places. And so I guess that's what I would say. I also would say that we did have community support in the beginning. As I said, we would never have gone down this path had we not had community support in 2018 and 2019. And, I understand that change is hard and people want a green space, but we are preserving over 50% of that green space and also providing desperately needed housing.
How desperate is the housing need?
Well,
Baltimore County's population has actually decreased in the last few years.
Well, I guess we could have a debate about cause and effect.
Well, because
but,
people don't have any place to live? I find that hard to believe.
I mean, the state comptroller's report on the state of the economy cited housing affordability as a key problem and why Maryland's economic growth is being hampered.
Well, I would.
And the fact that we had, people lined up at 5 a.m. in Howard County, and I don't think Baltimore County would be any different, just speaks to the need.
Okay, thanks, Dana.
Yeah.
Ms. Johnson, I have one
Yes, sir.
question. I just wanted to, sorry, Mr. Chair. The project in Howard County, it sounds like you're viewing it as a successful project. Just wonder, can you give us a sense of what was the subsidy that the Howard County government provided, what the average cost to build the units were? Is it an apples to apples comparison, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, that building was closed and started construction in 2021, so the cost difference was significant because we've had 40% cost inflation since then, and interest rates have doubled. So, the subsidy needed on that project was less.
Was it on hardscape? Was it built on hardscape or previously hardscape or previous open space?
It was next to an existing building, but it was built on open space. And it also has parking underneath, which Red Maple will have.
What was the ballpark cost per unit?
I don't have it off the top of my head, sorry.
No worries. Okay, thank you.
Anything else from Ms. Johnson? Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Ms. Belcastro, I think,
We have one more speaker for this item,
yes.
and that is Nancy Goldring, who is here in person.
Last, but certainly not least. Hello, Ms. Goldring. Good to see you.
Council Chair, County Councilman, gentlemen, citizens of Baltimore County. Good to be here. Thank you. So I am Nancy Goldring, President of the Northeast Towson Improvement Association, the organizational voice of Historic East Towson. And to the point of Ms. Johnson and many of the other people who have spoken here today, I think it's fair to say that the factors that impact this project are nuanced. They're not as cut and dry as people needing housing. You know, when Ms. Johnson mentions that she had community support early on, she had that support was coming from the NAACP, because that is the organization that was consulted when Red Maple came to town. And the thinking was that if Tony Fugit, who was the then president of the NAACP, said that the community was for it, then that must be true. And so obviously the community itself was not brought into the fold until much had gone on as it relates to the project. So I just want to say that it's been a long road, and I don't want to forget to thank you. The county has invested in historic East Towson in a way that it hasn't in decades, as a result of the visibility that has come from this project. The Elks Lodge, a social hall that's been in the community for 100 years, is under substantial renovation. We started the Juneteenth Music Festival to pay our fees. We've been the benefactors of small grants, and I think that the thing I don't want to forget to do is to say thank you. However, I think it's also important to note that, early on in my journey, I went to a funeral for a tree at Prospect Hill Cemetery. It was considered to be the oldest tree in Towson, and it was determined that it was about 135 years old, and thousands of dollars had been invested to try to save the one tree. And the sustainability officer at the time, when it was his turn to speak, said, "Trees are life." And I thought to myself, trees are life. I'm standing here while we mourn a 135-year-old tree, and yet a 2.5-acre stand of trees less than a quarter mile from here are at risk. And so I also want to add that, unlike maybe other communities who have faced similar challenges, it would only be fair to acknowledge that Historic East Towson's response to this issue was to create a trail, a cycling and pedestrian trail that would reconnect the community back to its origin, which is men and women and children formerly enslaved at the Hampton Plantation. So we saw that as a reparative way to make great use of that space. In 2006, I sat in on UDAT meetings, Urban Design Assistance Teams meetings that were designed to make Towson more walkable. I've lived in Towson almost all of my life, and we used to walk everywhere, and now we drive everywhere. The community of East Towson has been butchered to make the passage of traffic easier for people who do not live here. And I think it's fair to say that with the BGE substation, and make no mistake, we will not be invulnerable to other dicey projects if Red Maple goes away, because BGE would love to expand the substation in our community if Red Maple doesn't happen. And I think that one of the finer points to note is that BGE assures us that we won't be able to see the substation if they build it on the plot where Red Maple is proposed. However, the same technology they had to make it invisible today, they had 60 years ago when they took down 8 homes and a ball field. So What I would like to see is that we make a more thoughtful, conscious, and sustainable decision. This is not about not wanting affordable housing in our community. We suggested that the project be moved to 405, I think it is, East Joppa, because at the time it was for sale. It was $800,000 cheaper than the Mangione property. And we were told that new construction was cheaper than renovation. And the thing I will also add is that our legal battle closed in 2023. It's 2025. When I walked out of the appellate court, I thought shovels would be in the ground before I got home. That's the kind of energy that's been behind this project for all this time. If I had won that battle, that appellate court battle, knowing that the Supreme Court was not going to hear any case coming out of East Towson, I would have not wasted a minute. Now, I read the article this morning where Ms. Johnson is certain that she will be able to acquire the $2 million necessary for the Red Maple project if the county does not support the $2 million increase. A $2 million increase puts us at $4.1 million, and my math says that's about $73,000 a unit just for the county's money, not the 612. That's collective dollars. I don't think that we would do any harm here to call it a day on Red Maple Place. And I understand that even with a resolution that says that no project after this one would be granted the license to build the kind of construction that Red Maple offers, we're learning from Terry Hickey that that's not the case. I don't know what else to say. I don't have anything else to say. I thank you for the years we've spent together wrestling with this issue. David Marks, when you were our councilman, the things that you did to try to help us. Councilman Patoka, you came and walked the neighborhood long before we thought it would get this far. Council Chair Ertel, you made it a campaign promise that maybe you can't even keep, that this wouldn't be on your watch. This wouldn't happen on your watch. And what I'm learning is that there are so many variables circling on this situation that I'm not sure what promises anyone could have made us that they could keep. Councilman Jones, thank you for your counsel, for your guidance over the years. And Councilmans Young and Crandall, thank you for your continued support, for listening, for hearing us out, and for giving the community a chance to act in its own intelligent best interest. That's all we have done over this time. And I thank everyone here that has supported us over the years, every letter, every Monday night meeting, every court date. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Jones.
Ms. Goldring, I want to just thank you so much for your steadfast advocacy for your community, for the time you put in. I mean, every community deserves someone like you to work hard and fight for their community and stand up and put the time, the effort, the energy over and over and over again. So we certainly appreciate all you do and all you have done. It certainly has not gone unnoticed by anybody here or anybody in your community, what you've done. I think you're making your family very proud in terms of looking down and watching what you're doing, carrying on the legacy. And I did not hear this until you spoke, that there's BGE has an interest in this?
Yes, sir. They've been out to visit the community as recently as 2 weeks ago. And so they have purchased, I believe, 5 pieces of property. They came to us early on in my journey with the community because we had reached out to them about making the substation more visibly attractive, if that's possible. And so what we were told is that they needed more real estate to be able to green it up. And so we had a real estate investor in our community that, after several failed attempts to rent solely to students, she sold her property to BGE. And so we didn't count that a loss because we thought that BGE would finally be able to keep its promise to green up the substation and make it more attractive. And when the representative from BGE came to sit with us and show us his PowerPoint presentation, it was a flat-out expansion. Not a single tree in the slides, nothing. And my neighbor, Karen Walker, suggested I go out to Glenarm to see the substation there. And so one Saturday morning, I got up and I rode out to Glenarm. And I drove and I drove and I drove. And finally, I pulled off to the side of the road and I called her and I said, I don't see it. And she said, that's my point. And finally, as it turns out, I had pulled into a street that was directly across the street from the daggone thing. And I looked, and there it was, Baltimore Gas and Electric substation on a brick wall. So yes, while they are not the people who built the substation in 1965, somehow they are still willing to make the same decisions as those people did. So yes, sir, there is an interest by BGE to expand the substation in our community yet again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was uplifting. All right, we'll move on. Resolution 3125, Councilman Marks, amending the Perry Hall Commercial Revitalization District.
Thank you very much. When we passed the legislation establishing the White Marsh Mall Commercial Revitalization District, I said that I was interested in modifying several other districts, including 2 that are in the Perry Hall White Marsh area. These resolutions in general reduce the amount of land eligible for those districts. Candidly, in terms of the Perry Hall area, the area's been redeveloped to a high quality standard, and I just don't think it's necessary to have this under the Commercial Revitalization District anymore. So both these resolutions in general reduce the amount of land in those districts. That's it.
Did you want to speak to 3225?
They're very similar.
Okay, so that's,
yeah. If you look at the maps, I mean, in general, we're shrinking the amount of acreage in those districts.
okay. All All right, let's go to Resolution 3325, review of PUD Enclave at Magnolia.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Belcastro has a slide that I want to show on this. So a PowerPoint. So this resolution concerns a proposed development southeast of Perry Hall High School. I have opposed 4 previous development plans here, including the most recent proposal that called for 64 townhouses. By way of history, I recommended downzoning this area in 2012 to lighten the impact of growth on school overcrowding. School overcrowding throughout Perry Hall is now largely non-existent, including in this part of Perry Hall. According to the most recent students' counts statistics from Baltimore County Public Schools, the enrollment at Joppa View Elementary School stands at 87%, at 84% at Perry Hall Middle School. The number is 110% at Perry Hall High School, but is projected to drop to 99% by 2028 and never exceed its state-rated capacity. The newest iteration of this plan drops the project from 64 townhouses to 28 single-family homes. A plan unit development can be allowed in Baltimore County for a project that achieves substantially higher quality development than a conventional development. In this case, numerous residents have requested elements of this development plan that will not be approved under traditional development. Most importantly, the resolution expressly prohibits any access to Gerst Avenue, including during the construction phase, except for utility connections. It sets hours of construction that are more restrictive than for traditional developments. After consultation with neighbors, I will propose an amendment that makes this language even tougher. Additionally, this resolution requires more open space in areas that are closest to existing neighbors. It eliminates proposed units in the northwestern corner of the project and closer to Kilkenny Circle, and sets a robust barrier along the edges where there are existing homes. And I will also offer an amendment to establish more vigorous requirements for landscaping. Let me make this very clear about the alternative. This area will not be made undeveloped forever. With 5 parks already along the Honeygo Boulevard corridor or nearby, it will not be purchased as part of a new park. Under a traditional development, even at the existing zoning, Baltimore County will almost certainly require a connection to Gerst Avenue. This resolution blocks that connection. It sets open space and landscaping buffers that would exceed what would be required under any conventional development. Finally, I would say that our job as a county council is only to set the restrictions and the parameters by which a PUD resolution continues. There will be a community input meeting. At the end of that, the county council certainly has the right to make further modifications or to stop the project. But I think it's very important to put these restrictions in place that are the result of many years of negotiations. I also want to read the statement from the Perry Hall Improvement Association regarding Resolution 3325. The Perry Hall Improvement Association and Gerst Avenue residents have been dealing with this project for over 3.5 years. This project started out as a townhouse development connected to an inadequate street and no buffering, a project that the community adamantly opposed. Over the past 3.5 years of negotiation, the project has changed into 28 single-family homes, no access onto Gerst Avenue. Buffers have been provided, including a 2-acre reserved open space adjacent to Gerst Avenue. The enclave at Magnolia has addressed critical community concerns, and this was received today from Pat Keller, who's president of the Perry Hall Improvement Association. Thank you.
Councilman Patoga.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Councilman Marks. I was just curious for this PUD, and I view Pat Keller as a guru in terms of understanding planning issues. But have you identified a community benefit related to the PUD? I'm just curious what that is and how that would work in this situation.
Yeah, so the resolution does say, or I believe it will be under the amendments, that any community benefit money would go toward Angel Park, which is the community-built playground in Perry Hall that does have some resurfacing needs.
Okay. Any other questions for Councilman Marks? Do we have any speakers on this? Ms. Belcastro, do you want to call the speakers?
Certainly. Our first speaker is Joseph Moran, who is here in person.
Welcome, Mr. Moran. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's been a long night. I think the new interns are horrified by how long this meeting is.
Chair Ertel and council members, thank you for your time this evening. I am obviously in favor of PUD Resolution 3325. My name is Joe Moran. I'm the property owner of the 10 acres under consideration tonight for the planned unit development known as the Enclave at Magnolia. I'd like to take a moment to share a little background about myself, my connection to Perry Hall. My family moved to Perry Hall in 1964, and we've been deeply involved in the community ever since. I attended Perry Hall Elementary, junior and senior high school, and graduated in 1979. After college in 1985, I started the Perry Hall Family Community Golf Tournament, which in June of this year celebrated its 41st anniversary. This event has been held at the Rocky Point Golf Course each of the 41 years. At about the same time, I entered the real estate business as a commercial real estate appraiser. And by the late 1990s, I transitioned primarily into residential development. Over the years, I've been fortunate to contribute to several projects in Perry Hall, including 2 phases of senior housing development with Brightview Senior Living, provided much needed assisted living options. I also developed Perry Hall Station, a villa-style single-family senior community, along with a number of small to medium-sized residential infill projects throughout the years. The project we're discussing this evening has been one of my more challenging developments over the years. It began, as Councilman Marks said, 3.5 years ago as proposed 64-unit villa-style senior product. After extensive engagement with the community, Councilman Marks and the Perry Hall Improvement Association, we've reached a thoughtful compromise, a plan for 28 single-family detached homes with no access to Gerst Avenue neighborhood. I will say along the way, something kind of unexpected but meaningful happened. I became more involved again with my community and with the Perry Hall Improvement Association and reconnected with the community that shaped me. It's been a full circle moment in many ways, and I'm grateful for it. I respectfully ask for your support for this PUD application. I'd like to thank Councilman David Marks and you council members for your time and consideration this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Adam Rosenblatt, who is here in person.
Welcome, Mr. Rosenblatt.
Thank you, Council Chair Ertel, Councilman Marks, members of the council. I'm Adam Rosenblatt of Venable Law Firm, and I'm honored to be working with Joe Moran on this PUD project. As he said, he's a lifelong resident and advocate for Perry Hall, and I'm very pleased to be working on this with him. This, as Mr. Moran said, this is one of the most difficult projects I've ever worked on. When we started, I got involved maybe 2 years ago. There were 30, 50, maybe more people opposed to this project. And over many meetings, changes to the plan, different iterations, different unit types, all things that Councilman Marks worked with us on, made us go through these meetings and motions and changes. We've gotten to the point where there are 3 speakers signed up tonight, all part of the development team. And I've heard many of you say in the past that this is how you would like to see the PUD process work. And we really believe we've done that here. You're never going to please everyone, but the fact that the Perry Hall Improvement Association now supports this project and that the speakers signed up are all in favor of this project are very telling. As you've heard, it started out as a 62-unit townhouse project with access to Gerst Avenue. That was deemed to be too many units, so it was reduced to 45-unit townhouse development with a connection to Gerst Avenue. we heard over and over how traffic on Gerst was a problem, and there were fears about adding any more traffic to Gerst Avenue. So we changed the plan to the 45-unit townhouse project that would connect to the east of the property to Magnolia Avenue. And we tried to rezone the property through the CZMP to DR 5.5 to make that a possibility. But as Councilman Marks wisely decided, there are many more elements of the project that you can control through a PUD than you can through a simple rezoning, like road access, like road width, like number of units and density. So we ended up going through the PUD process, and we're asking you for your support for this resolution. We've changed the project from townhomes to initially 30 single-family homes, now down to 28, which was a specific response to a neighbor to the northwest of the property that was concerned about 2 units that were a little bit close to his unit. So Councilman Marks asked us to go through all these meetings in addition to the required pre-submission community meeting that you're required to do as part of any PUD. His process worked here. We have, by and large, a lot of support for this project. So we're asking this council to pass the resolution so we can continue through the development process. As you know, you're not approving any development or plan tonight, but you're allowing us to proceed with a concept plan, development plan, community input meeting, ultimately to present our case to the administrative law judge. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I appreciate all of your time.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something? Thank you very much. And Mr. Rosenblatt, thank you for testifying. And we built into this resolution some very strong language. And I'm going to say this on the record, that it basically instructs the administrative law judge and the executive branch to honor the letter of the resolution. Because we've had one other project very close to this where that did not happen. And that's the benefit of a planned unit development, right? We can create these conditions that you cannot do through traditionally zoned property. So I just wanted to say that on the record. Mr. Bostwick was very helpful with this. It's strong language that says that these connections, the lack of access will be respected. Thank you, Mr. Rosenblatt.
Thank you. And I think I can say one more thing that'll make everyone happy. We can waive the time of the third speaker because he's just the engineer for the project, unless you have any specific engineering questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just insulted every engineer. He's just an engineer. Okay.
All right.
There are amendments that have been on the website since yesterday, right, Mr. Bostwick? Yeah.
Correct, sir.
Okay. I think I missed Mr. Benjamin. So, Mr. Benjamin, you have a fiscal item.
This is for fiscal matter 15. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the council, good afternoon or good evening. The administration is requesting approval of a contract with Beveridge and Diamond to serve as co-counsel with the Office of Law on legal matters relating to the county's 2005 sanitary sewer overflow consent decree with the EPA and the Maryland Department of Environment, the MDE. There are legal issues concerning remedial measures involving the sewer shed repair, replacement, and rehabilitation plans pursuant to the consent decree. The consent decree, as you'll recall, concerns allegations that the county had violated certain sections of the Clean Water Act and certain sections of the Annotated Code of Maryland's Environment article by discharging untreated sewage from the sanitary sewer collection system to waters of the U.S. and to the waters of the state of Maryland. The Office of Law does not have in-house attorneys with the requisite subject matter expertise in this very complex area of environmental law. Further, due to timing of expected discussions with regulators regarding the consent decree, there is not sufficient time to solicit bids. It is in the best interest of the county, therefore, to have Beveridge and Diamond provide advice and counsel concerning this matter. The contract commences upon council approval. Compensation may not exceed $75,000 for the entire contract term, which is for 1 year. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Benjamin? Okay. Sorry, I missed you previously.
No worries. Thank you, sir.
I got confused.
It's not a problem at all.
And then last, we have calls for bills for final reading. Do we need Does anyone need to go over any of these? No?
Mr. Chair, we do have a speaker for one of the bills.
Okay. Which bill is that, Ms.
Bill
Bill?
42.
Okay, do we want to, let's roll the speaker then. Is that Miss Mary Muth? Okay.
Ms. Muth, you're on to testify for Bill 42.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you to the council for this opportunity to express support for Bill 4225 out of water storage facilities for commercial fishing and shell fishing. I am Mary Muth. I'm the president of Bowleys Quarters Improvement Association. We believe this bill gives great consideration to the history of Bowleys Quarters, which was most recently established as a summer and shore homes. And that land was used extensively by crabbers, fishermen, and hunters. However, over the past years, it is beginning to change, and it is now a mixture of those with longtime community ties and those new to the community. We saw, I'll skip that part in the interest of time. We believe this bill helps to accommodate the needs of those making a living off the water and those who are unaccustomed, if you will, to the historic and commercial ways of life in Bowleys Quarters. This bill allows for a solution for those crabbers and fishermen to store their equipment in a more pleasing manner to those new to the community and store them on land near their property, while lessening impact on their neighbors. It is a boost for the Bowleys Quarters way of life, culture, and commerce. It is not a perfect solution, but it is an improvement and recognizes the old ways of Bowleys Quarters, ways of living, ways of making a living, and those new to the community. For those reasons, we support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Muth.
Thank you.
Councilman Marks?
Thank you, Mary, for hanging in there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's been a long night.
And I will just add that there are amendments for the bill that have been up there since yesterday. The only thing I'll say about the other bills is we did get an email I sent to you all from Pat Keller supporting the landmarking of the Perry Hall School.
Okay. Anything other for the good of the order?
Well, Mr. Chair, can we call Major Wydick back?
Yeah, where's Major Wydick?
I'm sure there are dozens and dozens of people
Where's
still on,
Pesterfield?
Mr. Chairman, and I just wanted to reiterate that the council has its legislative session Monday evening, July 7th, and the following day, the council will be holding its public hearing in the redistricting in its portion of the redistricting process. That will be Tuesday, July the 8th at 6 p.m. It will be here in the council chamber, and it will be in person, but there will be a virtual component as all our meetings are here in Towson. So we invite anyone to come and testify or sign up that day to testify virtually.
Thank you, Secretary Boswick. And I'd be remiss if I didn't wish everyone a very happy upcoming 4th of July. Be safe out there and enjoy the birthday of the U.S. Amen. Amen.